Yes, it's a day that all of us are waiting for. Mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá àti ìyá, àbúrò, ará, ẹ̀gbọ́n, níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà ní orílẹ̀-èdè àwa adúláwọ̀ tàbí àwa tá jẹ́ ti ẹ̀yà funfun. Mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ yín fún àsìkò tí ẹ wá ní èní. Èmi náà ni ọmọ yín tó ń jẹ́ Emmanuel Adeolu Adeyemo. This is a Yoruba day, but a lè ṣe láì má mú àwọn tó jẹ́ pé àjọ ń gbé pọ̀ níbí báyìí tó jẹ́ ọmọ adúláwọ̀ tá ń pè ní African American. Mo fẹ́ fi opportunity yìí láti lè introduce ẹni tí a lè pè ní mama wa Valencia Omotinuke Stover.
Welcome, thank you. And good afternoon, or in Yoruba, Ekason. We are live from Atlanta, Georgia, in the USA, the Status Network, inside the Status Network studio. I am Honorable Valencia Stovall, your co-host for today's event, historical event, the first annual Yoruba Culture Day virtual celebration. To my Americans viewing, you will witness just a sampling of the Yoruba culture, the past, present, and future, in language, performance, art, and fashion, from Nigeria, Germany, the United Kingdom, and here in Georgia. Let's learn together why Yoruba are one of the largest tribes in Africa. To my Yoruba brothers and sisters, it will reignite your love for your rich culture from whence you began. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss anything, especially the roundtable discussion on the misconceptions between Africans in the diaspora and African Americans. Stay engaged and invite others to join using the hashtag YorubaDayGA. Now join us in celebrating the culture by listening to the Yoruba National Anthem. All right. Well, of course, we can't start an official event without giving thanks to our Creator. We will have three prayers. The Christian coming to us live from Nigeria with Archbishop Dr. Isaac Olawuyi, the Diocese of Lagos Mainland Methodist Church, Nigeria, followed by an Islamic prayer by Brother Babatunde Ali and his sons in Nigeria, and the final prayer, which is a traditional prayer by Prince Olati Doye of Owu Kingdom in Nigeria. Hello, greetings, Archbishop.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let us bow our heads as we pray. Let us pray. Lord God Almighty, the creator of heavens and earth, who created the people with diverse cultures and whose power is above all. We thank you specifically today for making the first Yoruba Cultural Day possible in Georgia, USA. We thank you, Lord, for the wisdom you give the organizers and for the already recorded progress. We pray that you shall manifest your gracious presence in our midst. We pray that you shall manifest your glory that you have already deposited in your people and in their culture. Bless your people, O Lord. Bless the people of America. Bless people in Nigeria. Bless Yoruba people and bless the entire people of the world. May every culture that shall be displayed today show forth your glory as it is written in Psalm 19, verses 1 to 3, from verse 1 to 3. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. May your name, O Lord, be honored forever and ever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen and amen.
My name is Chief Ali Morubatunde from Nigeria, from Ifo in Yoruba land. I'm giving prayer in Islamic prayer. This prayer is meant to pray for our brothers, our families, our friends in Georgia, United States, who are celebrating Yoruba Day, who are remembering home. May God bless all of you.
Amen.
We are also praying to the government of Georgia, who has given us the permission to observe Yoruba race there, that God in his infinite mercy will protect them.
Amen.
We are going to recite Altar Kursiu and some other verse in the Holy Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa hayyul qayyum la ta'uzuhu sinatun wa la nawm lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ardi ma za ladhi yashfa'u indahu la bismihi ya'lam ma ba'ayna alayhi wa ma alifahum wa la yuntuna min shay'in min ladhi sha wasi'a kursiyyuhu samawati wal ardi wa la ya'uduhu hifzuhuma al-azim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Laqad ja'akum rasulun min anfusikum asisu alayhim ma'anitum harisun alaykum bil mu'minina ra'ufur rahim fa anta wallahu faqasbi Allah la ilaha illa huwa alayhi tawakkaltu rabbil azim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul Allahu ahad Allahu samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Al-Fatiha.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.
Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Amin. Kun fayakun. Amin. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun 'alal mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Sallallahu alaihi
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Wishing you happy celebration. Wishing you many more on earth.
Amen.
Thank you.
Go.
On va tẹ̀lé mú tán ní ẹwọ́ ọ̀dà tán pátápátá. Ọtí ló wà bẹ́ẹ̀.
Original. Otini.
Yes.
Correct.
lè inú ìgbọ́ tàkẹ́ ìdánù àwọn bàbá lẹ́nu fún ordinarily it must touch the ground iyẹ̀pẹ̀. Ní ordinarily
ilé ló máa kárí gbogbo wa.
Mo ṣe bá Elédùmarè bàbá tó ní gbogbo ilé ayé, mo ṣe dá àwọn bàbá wa gbogbo, mo ṣe bá àwọn ìyá wa, mo ṣe bá gbogbo àwọn tó ní ilé ayé yìí. Èní jẹ́ ọjọ́ ẹ̀yẹ ńlá fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ òjíire tán wà nílùú Georgia ní ẹ̀yà Amẹ́ríkà lọ́hùn tá à ń pè ní United States of America. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Elédùmarè wípé ó jẹ́ kí ọjọ́ ìní kó ṣeé ṣe fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ wa lọ́hùn àtàwa tá a wà ní ilẹ̀ wa ní ìlú Nàìjíríà ní ẹ̀yà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní gbogbo àgbáríjọ Yorùbá ní gbogbo ilé ayé yìí. A dúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run Olódùmarè wípé kò fi wá sílẹ̀. A wá dúpẹ́ pé ní èní yìí ibi tá a ti ń ṣe ìwúre yìí ó tún wá jẹ́ nínú ààfin ọba Dr. Olúsọ̀yà Adégbóyèga Dùsùnmú Amọ́roro kejì àkọ́bí Oòduà tó jẹ́ pé òun ni ọmọ Odùduwà àkọ́kọ́ nílẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ Yorùbá. A dúpẹ́ pé Olúwa Olódùmarè ó ń ti bàbá wa lẹ́yìn, wọ́n ti bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lénìí, and gbogbo ire táwọn náà ti sú yóò túbọ̀ máa bá gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri. Èyí tá à ń ṣe yìí Olúwa ò ní fi ṣe àṣemọ fún wa. A máa ṣe gbogbo àwọn ọmọ wa wọ́n túbọ̀ máa lọ òkè sí i. Gbogbo wọn wọ́n á kó èrè oko wá sílé. Wọ́n ní odídẹrẹ́ kì í gbé sóko wá jẹ. Gbogbo wọn àti tó ń ṣe iṣẹ́ òfin ni o, àti tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ọ̀nà ni o, àti tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ìlera ni o, gbogbo wọn ní gbogbo àti àwọn ọmọ wa tí wọ́n ti pẹ́ nílùú Amẹ́ríkà, most especially the American blacks tó jẹ́ pé bí ni wọ́n ti kó wọn lọ sọ́hùn. Mo fẹ́ dáhùn ní sọ pé Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè tí ò ti fi wọ́n lẹ̀ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀pẹ̀ centuries ago will continue to be with them. Amen. They will be able to trace back their origin. Amen. Because they are part and parcel of us. Yes. And the God that we serve, the Elédùmarè in Yoruba, will continue to be at their back. Amen. The Elédùmarè will abide with them. The Elédùmarè will never forsake them. They will continue to grow in strength. They will continue to be prosperous in the land that they find themselves. The Lord will continue to give them good health. None of them will die young. They will all grow old and have white hairs. They will all grow old and eat whatever they want to eat with their tooth. With their gum. They will eat it with their gum. It's a sign of good. They will eat bitter cola, their gum. And this celebration will continue forever and ever. It will outlive everyone that is living now. And it will be passed on to our children's children. And all our goals and aims will be fulfilled.
Àṣẹ.
By the grace of Olódùmarè.
Àṣẹ.
And so will it be.
Àṣẹ.
Now and forevermore.
Àṣẹ.
Ẹ̀yin bàbá wa ẹ jẹ́ ojúṣe fún wa.
Àṣẹ.
Ẹ̀yin ìyá wa ẹ jẹ́ ojúṣe fún wa. Ẹ̀yin ọ̀tọ̀ kíìlì ẹ jẹ́ ojúṣe fún wa. Ẹ̀yin ọmọdé ìlú ẹ jẹ́ ojúṣe fún wa.
Àṣẹ.
Ọtí lọ yà gbá.
Ẹ̀yin náà wúre.
Lónìí à ń wúre ní pàtàkì fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tí wọ́n ń ṣọdún lónìí, ọdún ọmọ Yorùbá nílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà tí wọ́n ń ṣe lónìí. Èyí tẹ́ ń ṣe yìí kò ní jáṣe mọ́ fún yín.
Àṣẹ.
Èyí tẹ́ ń ṣe ayọ̀lẹ́ fi bẹ̀rẹ̀
Àṣẹ.
gẹ́gẹ́ bí àdúrà ti wá látẹnu bàbá olóyè tó jókòó tì wá. Ẹnu àṣẹ lẹ fi ṣàdúrà Olúwa bá mú lọlé àṣẹ fún wa. Ẹ ní fi ojú sunkún bọ̀. Ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan yín tó wà lẹ́yìn odi kórè òkò wá lẹ́yìn ẹni kúsókò wá jẹ ẹni kúsókò wá jẹ. Bólúwa ti wá pé kẹ́ ẹ máa ṣèrántí pé ibì kan lẹ́sà ti wà kan tó kẹ́ ẹ tó bára yín bí tẹ́ wà lónìí. Olúwa ò ní ṣe yín náà ní ẹni tó ń sọ lẹ́nu. Ẹ máa ṣèrántí ilé yóò sì máa wí ni. Mo wá fẹ́ gbàdúrà wípé ilé ò ní lé yín, ọ̀nà ò ní nà yín o, ẹ máa ronú láti wálé, ọ̀rọ̀ alẹ́ jẹ́ kí ìrònú yín kó lọ ilé àṣẹ, ẹ wọlé láyọ̀, ẹ wà kẹrù bọ̀, ẹ kẹrù bọ̀, ẹ ní kúsókò wájẹ, gbogbo ìkan ẹyọ kan ṣo làkàrà ń bá wọnú epo, ó máa ń padà bọ̀ ní tọmọtọmọ ní owó àkàrà kan tẹ́ bá dá sínú epo nígbà tẹ́ bá fi máa wà jáde ẹ máa gbọ́ kan pé à ń fọ́ èrò àkàrà tèrún lè máa délé ẹ̀yìn dábọ̀ ọ̀n ní fẹ́rù yín ránṣẹ́ sílé kẹ́ tó wọ́n ẹ̀yìn àtẹrù yín dẹjọ́ máa délé wọn wà ní fòkú yín ránṣẹ́ sílé wọn ní ilé wálé jíàjíà wọn ní sọ pé wọ́n ti kẹ́rù yín nìṣó ẹ máa bá ẹrù tàbí kán fi eyín ṣáájú ẹrù ẹ délé láyọ̀ ẹ kórè òkú wálé nìyẹn ó ti máa rí nìyẹn.
Àwọn tó máa dà tán ti wà. Ire tí àwọn ẹni ìṣàní ti mú àwọn ti rọ̀ mọ́ orí kan lè máa fi káàdì ẹ̀mí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wí ló máa rí 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 èyí ẹ̀wí yẹn àrọ̀ mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wí ló máa rí.
Náà owó ẹni tẹ̀.
N kò jẹ́ ẹni sọ̀rọ̀ n kò jẹ́ wulẹ̀ wá wáyé o. Orin tó kọ ohun orin gbogbo Yorùbá ni gbogbo Ẹ̀gbá ń kọ́ lórí bẹ́ẹ̀ tí ni ṣùgbọ́n ní èdè tí àwa lóhùn bàbá kọrú ẹ̀. Á pè bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wí ló máa rí 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 èyí ẹ̀ wí yẹn àrọ̀ wúrọ̀ mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wí ló máa rí èyí ẹ̀ wí wùn yẹn èyí ẹ̀ wí wùn àrọ̀ wúrọ̀ mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wí ló máa rí.
Who want them to round it up? Who want them to round it up?
Òwúrọ̀ akọ́dá ẹjọ́ iṣẹ́ rí anthem yẹn orí ẹsẹ̀ mẹ́ta ni òwúrọ̀ akọ́dá bẹ́ẹ̀ bá délé abẹ́ bá dùn kẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́ òwúrọ̀ akọ́dá Ifẹ̀.
Let me lead. Okay. The first one is Owulakoda bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dòwú ẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò. The second one is Owulakoda bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dẹ́fẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò. And the third one is Owulakoda bẹ́ẹ̀ bá délé ẹ̀ka tó wọ̀.
Okay.
Ṣèkà tó kọ̀ wọlé.
So bí ọ̀sẹ̀ mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ti lọ nìyẹn.
So 1, 2, 3 go.
Owulakoda o bí ẹ̀dọ́wù ẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò Owulakoda o bí ẹ̀dọ́wù ẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò Owulakoda o
myself.
Now let them hear in Atlanta.
Okay.
Oh, crown! Àdùgbò gbé gbogbo wa.
Àṣẹ.
Wà á kọ̀ yóò kó dé lé ní o.
Àṣẹ. Thank you.
This is very wonderful. In fact, you've made my day. I can go home now.
From all of us. Thank you, sir.
It's okay. No problem.
We'll be talking about it. So, this is for Kabiyesi. Yes. Elu.
This is yours. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Àwọn kan.
Àjìjọ wa ni.
Mo lọ bí ṣòro àgbóni. Òkú mi ṣàgbó. Ilé ìkọ́lọ́ ẹ̀kú wọ̀ pé. Lágbó náà.
Kò ṣe.
Ẹ̀hẹ́ kó gbé. Tó ẹ̀kú gbèrè.
Ìjàdùnà prefer yẹn.
Tó ẹ̀kú gbèrè. Ṣé mo sọ dára bí sọ dára?
Àní bí bá ṣe fẹ́ ni.
Tó ẹ̀kú ń gbèrè.
Àní ó ti dà bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wọ́n ra
Thank you, sir.
yín. I am a director of Royal Diade, so I'm not part of you.
That's okay. Thank you. For those of you that are listening to this, our 3 prayers, it's very, very important to let you know that in Yoruba land, we have 3 group of set of religions, and the coexistence between these 3 religions is very highly unique. For example, both my parents are Muslim, and we go to church, but they never forget the heritage of our culture. So you find it that the same thing happened in this our prayer. You find the Christian prayers, you find the Muslim prayers, and you find our real traditional prayers. You may not have good understanding of it, but I bet you that you will be interested to know more about them. For this occasion, we may not give you the detail about what it actually entails, but I will let you know that as soon as we continue to do more of this program, you'll have better understanding of it, clearer and clearer. But what I want to say to all of you is that you are already connected, and we are so happy that you are with us and you are listening to what we are actually doing. So in that case, I would like to suggest to you that we should continue in respect of our program. By now, gbogbo àwọn tí a bá pè sórí Yoruba Day ní Georgia yìí, most of them ọmọ máa sọ English pẹ̀lú Yoruba, but I have one gentleman here that will actually be assisting those areas that I may not be clear about concerning this thing. So I would like you to continue to see how we are going to be carrying on to do this thing. Thank you very much.
All right, and back to me. Of course, if you're just now joining us, I am your co-host, Honorable Valencia Stovall. And of course, you just heard from Emmanuel. And please excuse my southern drawl, because I was born and raised in Atlanta. But for the past 6 years, thanks to Emmanuel, I have become fascinated with the Yoruba culture and its heritage. So you may be wondering, how did the concept of the Yoruba Day in the state of Georgia come about? How is it that an African American woman who is co-hosting an event about Yoruba, how did that happen? Are her parents from Nigeria? Well, I have traced my ancestry to Cameroon, Togo, and Benin so far, but I believe that the ancestors have reconnected me to my heritage of the Yoruba people. As African Americans, we have a deep yearning for tracing our heritage. We are the only race here in America where majority cannot directly trace our heritage back to the tribes of Africa without doing a DNA test. There is a void. We are here to celebrate the Yoruba people and their contributions to Georgia and the world. It is a learning process. And this concept started in December of 2019, where I attended an event with Emmanuel. I was fascinated to be a part of the event and listened to the language, although I didn't know what was being said. Yet I felt empty that my family and so many others like myself in the U.S. don't know who we are. I had been a state representative for about 7 years and told Emmanuel that I wanted to recognize the Yoruba tribe at the state capitol. And that's exactly what we did in February of 2020, during the last week of Black History Month. The Yorubas, who are more than 45 million worldwide, showed up at the Capitol in their traditional dress and addressed the members of the House. We took pictures with the governor, the Speaker of the House, the Lieutenant Governor, and members of the General Assembly. We culminated this event in the city of Riverdale at a cultural celebration. There was so much accomplished in awareness that Emmanuel said we can't let the event go, that we must do our first annual Yoruba Day. And here you are, being a part of this international history. All of these events could not have been made possible without great partners, which I will talk about a little bit later. But some of them I'm just going to briefly mention. Of course, the Royal Diadem International Consortium, Inc., and the Board of Directors. They've been very active in this process of putting on this event. Also, our friends, Engineer Tunde, and his team from the Foundation for Royal Diadem Children Empowerment in Nigeria. And we really appreciate him coordinating those videos that you've seen before and you're going to see throughout the rest of this event. To the Yoruba Elite Munich in Germany, Impasse and O'Reilly, Ade, Kingdom of Georgia, Val Promotions, which is my company, and Status Network LLC. We're in this fabulous studio, and we appreciate the staff for welcoming us. Make sure you post about the event and invite others using the hashtag YorubaDayGA. Next, you will hear from our friends all the way from Germany, the Yoruba Elite Munich, Germany, who are doing fascinating work to build Nigeria. You will then hear from our RDIC board member, Engineer Tunde, who is also a founder of our sister organization in Nigeria, Foundation for Royal Diadem Children Empowerment. And lastly, you would then hear from a wonderful sister, another RDIC board member, Lioness Bukola Bada in Nigeria. And so we have, I think we have should be one person from Germany. The gentleman with our friend, we call him the Honorable. He's dressed in his purple regalia, yes. So welcome to Georgia.
Welcome to Georgia.
Thank you.
Welcome to Georgia and welcome to the Yoruba Day. Inú wa dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ láti rí ẹ̀yin tí ẹ jẹ́ ara wa tẹ́ wà ní Germany láti lè wá parapọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n àti sísítà wa tí wọ́n wà níbí báyìí tí à ń pè ní African American. A mọ̀ pé ẹ̀ ń ṣe gudugudu méje àti ẹ̀yà mẹ́fà ní Germany ń bẹ̀ yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n àwa tá wà níbí báyìí náà a sì need support yín láti lè máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣe lọ́hùn. Àti akitiyan tẹ́ ń ṣe ní ilé ní Nàìjíríà, nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, bí tẹ́ gbédé, Olúwa máa ran gbogbo wa lọ́wọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n iṣẹ́ kù fún yín láti ṣe ń bí báyìí. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe. Gbé kémi gbé ni o. Gbé kémi gbé ni o. So ẹ ṣé gan, and we are going to listen to you now, and please you can introduce your member who are there and let us hear from you, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Honorable Ganiu Adio Ogmijobi. Yeah, I'm really appreciate and I'm very happy to be part of this event. Yoruba Highlights Munchen, Germany. We have been doing a lot of great work for 4 years ago, and both home and abroad. And we are very glad to be part of this program. And here I have my president, Mr. Shegun Stephen, and our secretary also of Yoruba Highlights is also around. They are already present in the program. And our treasurer from Mr. Felix Damilola, they are going to be part of us very soon. And in the next few minutes also, we're going to have our member, Mr. Lahode Ayuba. Our provost member is going to be part of it very soon. And our co-order member is going to join in the next few minutes. Thank you very much for giving us this privilege.
And it's a beautiful occasion. That's why it's good for us as we call ourselves to be the Egbas. So let us see how we can do this thing today. Thank you, ma, and thank you, sir. Ẹ̀yin lẹ ṣé gan tẹ́ parapọ̀ pẹ̀lú wa lénìí láti wá gbé Yorùbá Day lárugẹ.
Thank you for having us, sir.
Yeah.
Ẹ ṣé adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín o.
Yeah. Ó yẹ ká ṣe báyìí owú ní o. Owú la kọ́dá o bẹ́ẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ dóhun ẹ bèrè wo owú la kọ́dá o.
Ń gbà mú o.
Ń gbà àwa náà nu ẹ̀rọ àṣà. Ẹ ṣé gan o.
Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ náà.
Àwa nìyẹn a tún máa sọ̀rọ̀ later.
Ẹ kú akitiyan náà, sir.
Àwa mà nìyẹn o. Àwa mà nìyẹn. Ẹ ṣé gan. Ẹ ṣeun. And a tún máa bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ later. Ẹ ṣé gan, sir. Ẹ ṣé gan, ma.
Yes.
All right o. Tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lè sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ níṣó. Tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ jọ̀ọ́. President, tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ jọ̀ọ́.
Okay, YEC, we thank you for choosing us and for to be a partaker of today's event. The God Almighty will continue to strengthen Yoruba land. And we really appreciate to work with you in Georgia as Yoruba together. Yoruba Elite Club Munich, Germany, founded 2016. It was registered 2017 with 10 members. And since that time, God has been helping us. We have been carrying out because we have a lot of proposals that we are working on, because it is not for us to stay in abroad and to be sending only speech to our dear land, which is Yoruba nation. It is what we contribute that will speak about what we are doing outside Yoruba nation. So we thank God, 2017, we launched this, our Yoruba Elite Club, with the help of Lagos State government, Lagos State House of Assembly. All of them came down from Nigeria to here to celebrate and launch the YAC together. And since then, we have been trying our possible best to make sure that we help Yoruba nation, Yoruba land. We have been doing so wonderful on agriculture especially, because without food, no one can survive this world. And in our dear land, from our forefathers, they value agriculture too much. That is why we go on agriculture. Not only on agriculture, we are planned to go on healthcare. Not only that, we go straightly to education also. We have been trying our possible best. The little one that God help us, we have been helping people, which we will employ the whole world today to support in this journey, to lift up Yoruba nation, to help our people back home, for them to realize that they have people outside Yoruba land. The agriculture especially has been down since when I was young. I do have my own farm together with my father. My father has his own, I have my own. But nowadays, if you have people living in Lagos, they don't know how to handle cutlass, talk less of having farm. So all this, we want our parents that are still alive today to put all of us through, to guide us how we are going to survive. Agriculture is a tradition of Yoruba land. Some people doesn't know. They think when you do a farm, it's a farm. Agriculture is a tradition. It's our tradition. It is where we are feeding the whole nation. I can remember when our father, Obasanjo, launched Operation Feed the Nation. We have to feed our nation. We have to feed ourselves. When we leave that place, the next thing is healthcare. We go on healthcare sites too, because when you are eating and you are not healthy, it's going to be a big problem. When we give our children education, let us include agriculture for them. The president cannot do without agriculture. The doctor cannot do without agriculture. The lawyer cannot do without agriculture. The senators cannot do without agriculture. The bishop, president, everybody cannot do without agriculture. We have to deal with our agriculture. We have to lift it up. This country that we are living, it is agriculture lift their country up. If you see behind my house here, they have a lot of farm, animal farm, potato farm, maize. When the time is coming out, they will plant maize. If you see the farm, you bow. They are using these maize to generate light. All these things we have to do. So for the meantime, I will reserve my comments. I will leave a space for my Honorable Gani, the Vice President of YEC, to add one or two things on this. Thank you.
Now, Engineer Oyetayo, I'm sure Engineer Oyetayo has a lot to say with respect to the Yoruba Day celebration. So I just want to hear from you to give us one or two things with respect to this.
Yes, I'm Engineer Abatunde Oyetayo, the President and Founder of Rare Diadem Foundation, an Africa Heritage Foundation, and for which we already have the branch in Georgia, with whom we are celebrating today, and also we have a branch in Pennsylvania. They will be celebrating soon as well. Now, we send our message of congratulations and celebration to you today for the good thing you have from the government of Georgia, having granted you a Yoruba Day as a mark of recognition for your contribution to the economy and developing the sphere and the space you find yourself. We really congratulate you from the palace of the Olowu of Owu, Amoro Road 2nd. It's our pleasure to associate with you, and we believe this association is just the beginning of good things to come. Now, what I'm supposed to really mention to us or discuss is basically about reminiscence from somebody who is a village boy who grew up in the village, typically an Owu village, which is called Akinyele and Oloya, because I'm a heir apparent to the Oloya title. Now, there are many things we should know, those of us who want to know about Yoruba culture. Life in the village is very, very beautiful because usually the family is one. A typical village will have like 95% of the village, the bloodline are the same. They come from the same place. So you can see that it's well knitted and they are very, very close to one another. In such a setting, they will also have a baile, which is graduated to the king now, who will be the overall authority of such a kingdom. And when they live, just like Chief had told us, they are primarily hunters, farmers, and of course warriors. And so you cannot joke with any Owu kingdom when it comes to that. So that is one important thing for which Owu people we do. So our main thing is agriculture, and we make food. But one thing we should know about this is this. As big as Owu town will be, every Owu culture will also have a village, which is a feeder from agricultural product back to the town. Therefore, whatever we make in the village is more or less to come and provide wealth and food for the fathers at the town. That was more or less the setting. So each one of us will have such a village located here and there all over Yoruba land. As for marriage, because I said to us in the village, speaking from experience now, because most of us are of the same bloodline, you find it difficult to marry from that village. Therefore, your fathers and your mothers will be the one to look out to other villages to go and find wife for you in a way of matchmaking or whatever. But they will do it tactically that you don't feel belittled as their son. And that's the way it is. Because marriage in Yoruba united to you. That is typical of Yoruba culture in the village. And that is basically a very good thing that we used to do in those days. So, as for the security in the Yoruba land was very, very tight and secure. Because every male child is a security personnel. Of course, we have the hunters who are primarily responsible for the overall security at night and what have we. And they have their traditional ways of securing their community. In addition to that, the hunters are also the one that will go to the bush in the night to bring home games, animals which we are going to use for protein in our food. Because don't forget, there are no cows there, there are no Fulani that will carry cows to the farm. No, we do not have that as at that time. So that is it. And for intelligence, the intelligence in Yoruba land was superb because every community has got the deep community who can call them the Obonis and so on. They run the intelligence of the community. They knew things before they happen, and they have their network all over the communities. When something happens, they will get to know, and they will tell everybody, be prepared, something like this is coming, and so on. And so our system was very, 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 very tight. So one important thing I need to let you know also is about the Yoruba culture, which is very, very interesting. Back then, the Yoruba culture has no uncle and has no aunt. Your father's brother is your father. Your father's sister is your mother. You don't go to say play and say uncle, you will get thorough beating for that. but the beauty of it is this: anybody that you give that reference, you say Baba, Mama, he will also do to you as son or daughter, equivalently that he or she will do to his own biological daughter or son. I remember when I was in the university, my uncle here, who lives not too far from here, I used to come. Each time I stay with him, when I'm going, I'll never go back to Ota. I will just say, I'm going to school. The money I will spend, he will give me. The money for my books, he will give. There was a time, a day, we played prank with his own direct son. I went to collect money 2 times from Baba at Ota. Of course, we got they caught us out, the two of them, and we got thoroughly tortured, and we will never do it again because we were trying to play pranks then. But that is it. Your auntie is your mother, and your uncle is your father, and of course, your cousins left and right are your brothers and they're your sisters. In my family, extended family, we don't have cousin or no. It's always Bodani or Auntie me. You can't say it's my cousin. There's nothing like that. So if you see us and I say, but this is my brother, this is my sister, not necessarily direct bloodline, but that is the culture, because that is what is good for us, and we still keep that to tomorrow in my own family at least. So that's why, yeah, that's what I have to say for us, and I think I've covered part of what I need to say. On this note, on behalf of the people of Owu Kingdom, ably represented by the chief, the Jagunna of Owu Kingdom, and of all the good people here, we wish you happy Yoruba Day celebration. Ireo.
Can we clap?
Yeah, we can clap. Thank you. I'm going to use this one.
Okay. Ní èní, ohun tí a fẹ́ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ni àṣà wa nípa aṣọ wíwọ̀ ní ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀, pàápàá jùlọ ní Nàìjíríà, pàápàá jùlọ àwa Yorùbá. Èmi ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí, ọmọ Abẹ́òkúta ni mí, ọmọ Ìkẹrẹkúmẹ́rẹ́ Akàn ni mí. Nítorí ìdí èyí, mo máa ṣe àwọn àlàyé fún wa bí a ti ń wọṣọ ní ayé àtijọ́ bí a ti ń wọ̀ nísìnyí bí a dẹ̀ ṣe máa ń wọ̀ bí a ṣe máa wọ̀ ní nígbà tí ayé bá ṣe ń tẹ̀sí iwájú. Ní ayé àtijọ́ àwọn bàbá wa àti ìyá wa máa ń wọ àwọn aṣọ bíi òfì, àlárì, sányán, damask, àdìrẹ àti lace. And tí àwọn bàbá wa àti ìyá wa bá fẹ́ lọ sí òde, àwọn bàbá wa máa ń wọ aṣọ, wọ́n máa ń wọ ṣòkòtò tí a máa ń pè ní kẹ̀m̀bẹ̀, wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń wọ dàṣíkí lé lórí, wọ́n wá fi fìlà abetí ajá sí i. In fact àwọn máa tún fi swag sí àwọn fìlà abetí ajá yẹn, ṣe mọ̀ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní swag, wọ́n á fi sí i. Then àwọn ìyá wa wọ́n aróró wọn, wọ́n á wọ bùbá sí i, wọ́n lè gbé wọ́n wé gèlè. Ní gbogbo ìgbà yẹn ẹ lè rí obìnrin kó máa ṣí orí ẹ̀ sílẹ̀, àwọn ìyàwó wọn kì í ṣí orí sílẹ̀ láìra. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ra lo ẹ̀ṣọ́ níwọ̀nba tí ó bá òde mu, tó bá ìgbà mu. Wọ́n tún máa ń ṣara lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́ nípa kí wọ́n máa fi làálì ṣe ọwọ́ wọn ní ẹ̀ṣọ́ àbí ẹsẹ̀ wọn fi ṣe ní ọ̀ṣọ́. Pàápàá jùlọ wọ́n tún máa ń kọlà. A máa rí àwọn kan tó máa ń kọlà, tó máa dúdú wọ́n máa ń pè wọ́n ní wọ́n dúdú bíi kóròṣin, àbí tó máa pupa wọ́n máa ń pè wọ́n ní amọ́lẹ́wà. Wọ́n á kọlà tó dẹ̀ máa bá ara wọn mu ní ayé tó ti lọ. But nísìnyí ní ayé tá wà nísìnyí, ayé ọ̀làjú tá wà nísìnyí, tí globalization ti fi gbogbo wa, ó ti fi wá mọ́ra wa. Àwọn aṣọ tá máa ń lò ńgbà yẹn náà la ṣe ń lò nísìnyí, ṣùgbọ́n ó ní ó ní ẹ̀yà díẹ̀. Kí ni ẹ̀yà yìí? Ni pé ní ayé àtijọ́ yẹn a kì í fi àwọn aṣọ mọ́ra wọn, but nísìnyí nǹkan tí a tẹ̀ ń fi àǹkárá dá lára ní ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ ó lékè ńkà. A lè mú àǹkárá pọ̀ báyìí ká mú mọ́ sányán, a lè mú mọ́ damaski, a lè mú mọ́ aṣọ òkè, a lè mú mọ́ lace. Tí a bá lè ṣe àkóso àwọn aṣọ yìí tán, tí àwọn olùránṣọ wa, àwọn sábẹ́rẹ́ di owó tí wọ́n máa gbé àwọn aṣọ yẹn sí kalẹ̀, tí a bá wọ̀ báyìí in fact ẹ máa fẹ́ máa bu ara wa jẹ níbi ẹwọ̀ wa ṣe máa jáde. Ẹ rí pé èmi ọmọ yín pàpà tí mò ń ṣe àlàyé fún yín, àǹkárá lèmi gan fúnra mi wọ̀. Mo wọ àǹkárá mi, mo wọ bùbá, skirt ni mo wọ̀ lórí àǹkárá yìí, mo dẹ̀ fi gèlè dé, mo dẹ̀ lo ẹ̀ṣọ́ ní ìwọ̀nba. Bí a ṣe múra ní òde ìsìn, àwọn ìgbàlódé obìnrin, àwọn ìgbàlódé ọkùnrin pàápàá jùlọ, àwọn náà máa wọ àǹkárá, wọ́n á wọ ṣòkòtò, wọ́n lè wọ ṣòkòtò bí wọ́n ṣe ní jacket, wọ́n ṣe ní kékeré, wọ́n ṣe ní oríṣiríṣi style tó pé tí a bá rí inú wa máa dùn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń wọ agbádá àti wọ́n wọ ṣòkòtò àti agbádá, wọ́n fi fìlà sí, wọ́n á kóṣẹ́ sí aṣọ wọn ní iwájú, wọ́n á kó lẹ́yìn. Fún àtúntò ń kó àwọn iṣẹ́ kan alákòótán ni, látòkè délẹ̀ wọ́n á kóṣẹ́ sí aṣọ. Tí ẹ bá wò ó máa ń dùn láti wò, ó dẹ̀ máa ń fi ẹwà kún ẹwà àwọn tí ìmúra òde yìí. Pàápàá jùlọ tó tún wá ṣe yàtọ̀ sí ìmúra òde yìí ni pé a bá ń pè nǹkan tá à ń pè ní makeover. Àtọkùnrin àtobìnrin ló ń ṣe é sìn o. Tẹ bá rọkùnrin náà ẹ rí pé kó tó jáde báyìí tó bá ti múra tán, á lọ síbi tó ti ń ṣe makeover fún, wọ́n á gba fi powder fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ sí ojú ẹ̀, wọ́n á tọ́ ètè fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́rẹ́ fún, òun náà máa ṣe bí obìnrin. Àpapọ̀ àwọn obìnrin tá a bá wọlé wákàtí méjì àti jáde nínú yàrá tá a ti lọ ń ṣe makeover yẹn, à á kun ọ̀dà oríṣiríṣi sójú, à á kun sétè, à á kun sẹ́nu, a lè kun ọ̀dà bíi 6 sí ojú, a lè kun sétè, à á ṣe ọwọ́ wa lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́ láti ṣáà máa múra kí ó lè dání. Gbogbo àwọn ìmúra yìí ni ó bá ìgbà lọ. À ń múra lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ sí ìkómọ, sí ìṣílé, sí ìsọmọlórúkọ, sí àwọn ayẹyẹ oyè, gbogbo oríṣiríṣi ayẹyẹ tí a bá ń ṣe, kò sí ìtí a lè wọrú àwọn aṣọ yìí lọ láti lọ bá wọn fi ṣe ayẹyẹ. Ṣùgbọ́n à ń wò pé ní ayé tó ń bọ̀ lọ́hùn-ún, à ń gbà ní ìyànjú, a dẹ̀ ń gbà ní àmọ̀ràn fún àwọn bàbá wa, àwọn tó ń jẹ́ custodian of our culture, àwọn bàbá wa bí àwọn ọba wa, pàápàá jùlọ olú ọba Ọ̀jájá, Ọ̀ní of Ifẹ̀, pé kí wọ́n bá wa jẹ́ kí ó máa di bí òfin pẹ̀lú àwọn ọba wọn, pé kí wọ́n máa jẹ́ kí a promote culture wa sí i, kí wọ́n má jẹ́ kí globalization kó erode àwọn culture wa. Bí àwọn aṣọ wa tá à ń wọ̀ ẹ̀ náà la ṣe máa wọ̀ ní future, but ó tún lè tó díẹ̀ sí ni. Ṣùgbọ́n mo mọ̀ pé àwọn aṣọ wa bí àǹkárá, bí òfì, bí lace, bí batik wọn ní kásẹ̀ nítorí pé aṣọ àpáráyé ni wọ́n. In fact ẹ mọ̀ pé Abẹ́òkúta náà ti ń ṣe àdìrẹ, ibi tẹ́bi dẹ̀ ti wá nìyẹn. À ń ṣe àdìrẹ ní oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà. Mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé ṣe ń lọ sí, wọ́n tún máa jẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ àti ṣe àdìrẹ kó máa tẹ̀síwájú sí ni. Ṣùgbọ́n àdúrà wa ni pé kí gbogbo bí a ti ń wọ aṣọ ní ayé ìgbà yẹn àti ayé ìsìn, kí ayé tó ń bọ̀ lọ́hùn kó má pa gbogbo ẹ̀ rẹ́ mọ́ wa ní ọwọ́. Kí àwọn bàbá wa, àwọn ọba wa kó bá wa sọ́ di àbádòfin pé gbogbo òde wa àwọn aṣọ wa bí àǹkárá kó má kú nílẹ̀ káwọn ọmọ wa máa wọ̀ lọ sí school kó máa wọ̀ lọ sí ibi iṣẹ́ kó máa wọ̀ kí wọ́n tẹ̀ ṣe òfin pé every ọjọ́ jímọ̀jímọ̀ aṣọ Yorùbá ní gbogbo wa máa wọ̀ lọ sí ibi iṣẹ́ àtọkùnrin àtobìnrin àti gọ́fìnà àti president gbogbo àwa tá a wà nínú ìjọba kí a máa wọ aṣọ tó jẹ́ aṣọ Yorùbá ní ọjọ́ Fridays tó jẹ́ ọjọ́ jímọ̀ ká máa wọ̀ lọ sí òde. Èyí ni ìwọ̀nba èyí tí mo rí mú wá fún yín lórí ètò first annual cultural day tí a ṣe ní ìlú Georgia. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́.
Yes, thank you so much, Sister Bada there. What she's talking about is about the beginning. There are different kinds of traditional wear that most of our parents always look into, which started from the way we actually put on different kind of dress on, especially the one we wear in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And most especially the one that we do wear to social engagement, which now been transformed to different kind of different style nowadays, which we call modernized fashion style, which is actually originated from what our parents are wearing during that time. And she's also telling us that if it is possible, in order for this particular heritage fashion culture not to die, it might be possible for each of the governors that are in different states to have a unique day where they will now make a compulsory for the traditional wear to be for a specific day. I remember when I was in England, we normally have to wear suit and put on tie. But the point is that that is the culture there. But the same thing is what she's saying, that let's have a specific time whereby we can introduce this, our culture of fashion, into a specific day, which can make this particular more of our heritage to be populous. So that's what exactly she's talking about. I believe quite all right that it is already been done in some states, in Yoruba state there, most especially Fridays. On Fridays, people, yes, on Fridays and Sundays especially, most of our people are so uniquely in putting that Sunday and Friday to be a social, or what I call to be cultural day of wearing different kind of attire. So that's what exactly she says. She just wants the government to lift more opportunity for this culture to be transformed to the rest of the world. Thank you, Sister Bada. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Emmanuel, for taking the time to explain that to those of us who are not Yoruba and did not understand the language. And that's one of the great opportunities with this Yoruba Day cultural celebration. It's about bringing about unity. And so that's why you have me as an African American here, and you have Emmanuel as an African, and you will have later on, we have one of the prints that is here. And so you'll see us interchanging back and forth, because that's what we want to see, not just here in Georgia, but we want to see it nationally, internationally, worldwide, because I think that's how we're able to move forward. So thank you so much, Emmanuel and Lioness Bada, who's also, like I said before, one of our board members of the Royal Diadem International Consortium. So next on the program, we have what is very dear to me, especially being a former state representative here in Georgia. We had a presentation of the Georgia resolutions. And in the state of Georgia, our elected officials recognize individuals or recognize organizations or events that have a significant impact in the state of Georgia. And as part of this program, we have my former colleagues from the Georgia General Assembly who will present the official resolutions. First, we will hear from Chairwoman Representative Rhonda Burnell of the 77th District, and followed by a message from Chairwoman Senator Donzella James of the 35th District. Welcome, Chairwoman Burnell. Okay. Well, we're going to give her a few minutes to come on. We know that this time they are in legislative session and all kind of things happen. I know you all saw a lot of things that were going on at the state capitol dealing with voting, but we're not talking about that right now. I have another opinion about that, but we won't share that today. So I'm going to read a message from my former colleague, Senator Donzella James. And for those of us who are here in the state of Georgia, we know the many works that Senator James has done for the African community. She's very well known. And actually, my first opportunity of being able to see the Africans when they come down to the state capitol was through her having different events. So I definitely appreciate her, and I could not have this event. Without making sure that Senator James was a part of it. And she was also a part last year where she also gave a Senate resolution at that time. So this is a message from our Georgia Senator Donzella James of the 35th District. I am sorry I could not be with you today due to health issues. I am excited to be a part of this awesome event again this year. I would like to congratulate you on your new currency, the coin currency. As you all continue to move the Yoruba tribe forward, I wish you many blessings to come. I hope that you all stay safe and be well until we meet again. Have an awesome day, respectively, Senator Donzella James. And also, Senate Resolution 259 is going to be presented. I'm going to read the resolution to you, and you will also see a copy of it on the screen. And so it's commending the first annual Yoruba Cultural Day virtual celebration in Georgia on March the 27th, 2021. And whereas the Yoruba tribe is one of the largest African ethnic groups south of the Sahara Desert, predominantly located in southwestern Nigeria and constituting about 45 million people in the world. And I'm going to, since I know that Chairwoman Berno is here, I'm going to let her finish reading out the resolution. They both say the same from the House, but I just want to make sure for the bottom part of the Senate resolution, it reads, now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend the event. Be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Senate is authorized and directed to make appropriate copies of this resolution available for distribution to the public and the press. It was adopted in the Senate on March the 17th, 2021 by President of the Senate, Jeff Duncan, who is also the Lieutenant Governor, President Pro Tem Butch Miller, Secretary of the Senate, David Cook, and our very own Senator Donzella James. So we definitely appreciate Senator James, Chairwoman James, for making that happen for us today at the Yoruba Day event here in Georgia. So now we will welcome one of my dear friends, former colleague of mine, Chairwoman Rhonda Berno. Hello, Rhonda. Well, Chairwoman Berno. You have to be official.
Good afternoon. So how's the program going so far?
Oh, it's going very well, and I really appreciate you taking time out. I know legislative session have y'all rocking and rolling down there, and I definitely don't miss that part.
Yes, it has been rocking and rolling, as you know, because we're all on the news about SB 202, which affects our voting rights. And so that is something that's taken up a lot of my time this year. But I want to congratulate, I was there last year for the Yoruba Cultural Day in the city of Riverdale.
Right.
And so I'm glad that you all are continuing the celebration, even though it has to be virtual. And so we welcome all of your members from all over the world that are watching us. And we hope that this will be a successful event. I heard you say you had already read the resolution, so there was no need for me to read it again. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah, so if you want to start on the third part, the third paragraph, and finish reading out. Yeah, because I stopped on the second paragraph.
Okay. Whereas Yoruba people are prolific educators, sculptors, farmers, and social and political advocates who live around the world, including places like the Republic of Benin, Northern Togo, Brazil, Cuba, Portugal, Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, and the United States of America, speaking 30 dialects, the Yoruba language. And whereas the Yoruba tribe makes a huge impact through community service and economic influence in the state of Georgia. And whereas the idea of Yoruba Day Festival in Georgia was created in January 2020, first annual Yoruba Cultural Celebration Virtual Day is spearheaded by the Royal Diadem International Consortium Incorporated, Gile Tech International LLC, and the Honorable Valencia Stovall, former representative, in collaboration with NPAS and Ori Ade Kingdom of Georgia, Yoruba, Elite Lucan in Germany, and the Foundation for Royal Diadem Children Empowerment Nigeria. And whereas this event will be held virtually to expose Georgians and viewers worldwide to unique, rich culture and traditions of the Yoruba people through fashion, dance, music, poetry, artifacts, storytelling, and food, while harnessing unity and appreciation between the African diaspora and the African Americans. And whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that the cultural importance of the remarkable Yoruba people be recognized appropriately. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of this body commend the first annual Yoruba Culture Day virtual celebration in Georgia on March 27, 2021. Be it further resolved that the clerk of the House of Representatives is authorized and directed to make appropriate copies of this resolution available for distribution to the public and the press. And this House resolution, it was House Resolution 360, and it was signed by myself of the 77th, Jones of the 53rd, Metz of the 55th, Prince of the 127th, and Scott of the 76th. Thank you.
So, yes, thank you, Chairwoman Berno, again for taking time, and we really appreciate you. And look forward to talking to you again soon. I know session ends next week, so I know we'll be chatting again. And thank you.
All
so
right,
very
thank
much.
you. Enjoy your day.
All right, appreciate
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So I would like to formally present these resolutions to Emmanuel Adeyemo on behalf of my former colleagues, Representative Chairwoman Berno of the 77th and Chairwoman Donzella James of the 35th District.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I think let me make a little bit of speech in respect of this.
Sit back there.
I couldn't believe that this could happen to a kind of a man like me. Sometimes people always tell me that, why don't you come out and let people know who you are? But I find it very highly conservative. But recently, when this thing was given last year, it was completely done on me. And it was then I identified there's a big task and big role for me. And being that I'm from Owu, and many people thought that maybe I'm not an origin Yoruba, but I come from a house of lineage of heritage of Yoruba in Owu compound. And it's a big task for us to be able to come out, but sometimes we don't make noise. That's what Owu tribe is all about. We are very quiet, progressively doing wonderful things. But I want to thank the people for what I call my brothers and sisters, the African American, for looking unto me to see me that this is worthy to be given to such a man, most especially that identify me through my culture and through who I am, and present such a thing like this to me. I'm an Owu man, and I will be Owu forever. And people that are Owu that are connected to me knows that I'm from Owu, but those that doesn't know me always think other way around. That's why they miss the point. That's why they miss the point. But I want to talk to all our Yoruba brothers and sisters today that we are one, irrespective that I come from the lineage of that particular first Asian kingdom of Yoruba. But I still want you to know that we are brothers and sisters. And let us take this nation of Yoruba upward. And let us make it much unique. when the newspaper 1868 was published in Abeokuta, people don't know that Abeokuta has been very well educated before the France or Britain. But coming here again to meet my brothers and sisters who are African American, we need to exchange all these things to them. Most especially to you, thank you so much, man.
You're welcome.
And to those two people that are already said, I've met them. Majority or most of them in the house there actually have seen me. Please, thank you so much. Thank you for the trust and the confidence that you have in me in this particular thing that you have given to me concerning the Yoruba tribe nation in Georgia State. God bless you all, and we shall see more, and we shall see more, much better. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much, Emmanuel, and thank you for exemplifying your heritage in a way that would make others recognize it, especially here in the state of Georgia. That means a lot. So next, we have a lot more, and don't make sure you all stay tuned in because we do have our roundtable discussion. We're going to talk about misconceptions between Africans in the diaspora and African Americans. But before that, we're going to now have a performance of the Bata dance, and also from Onifa that will be performed in the palace of the High Royal Highness Oba Ono Sango. Oba, you want to correct me? You say it because I don't want to mess up the name. Go ahead.
I think àwọn nǹkan tó kù tá a tún fẹ́ ṣe nísìnyí nǹkan tí mo kọ́ sọ lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àǹfààní fún àwọn tí ò bá gbọ́ èdè tí mo sọ mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn torí wọ́n ṣe kà mí kún gbà tí mo dé ìlú yìí tó ń dẹ̀ rí pé character identity Yorùbá yẹn, but in order for them láti mọ̀ pé Yorùbá, that's why I have to bring the origin of Yoruba and we have to talk about it, which is from the Owu side. So that's why we could be able to explain it to all of you to see that Owu Lakoda, which is that we are connected to what we call Oduduwa. And that was the lineage that I am actually from. And I want you to know quite well that in Niti Yoruba, tí òun mo fẹ́ sọ ní Yorùbá, eléyìí tí òun sọ ni pé a gbé àwọn bàbá kan wá, àwọn ọba wa láti Ṣàngó, àní pé kí wọ́n fún wa ní àwọn oríṣiríṣi àṣà tí a lè bá ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó wà ní ààfin tí ó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe. So àwọn yẹn la fẹ́ fi hàn yín nísìn. Oríṣiríṣi náà ló tún wà tó jẹ́ pé ó ju tù yẹn lọ tá fẹ́ fi hàn yín. Ṣùgbọ́n eléyìí lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ká sọ fún yín náà láti lè jẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé àwọn oríṣiríṣi eré wà tẹ́lẹ̀ gbádùn ládàá ó wà bíbá tó jẹ́ pé ẹ wà pẹ̀lú wa. Ẹ ṣé gan, ẹ ṣeun.
Will you please do the correct pronunciation of the Oba? Thank you.
Okay, I will do that honorably. Thank you. Now we have a father who happened to be the Royal Highness Oba Onisango Oba Gbohun Adebayo. He's a very known person to my friend, my family, and she just left. He was in Philadelphia for a few days and went back. So wọ́n ti padà lọ sílé ọ̀nà coordinate kìíní fún wa ní palace wọn ní Ṣàngó ńbẹ̀. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo fẹ́ kí a wo àwọn oríṣiríṣi àṣà wa tó wà ní ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ààfin wa àti àwọn bàbá wa tán jẹ́ lọ́balọ́ba fún wa. A gbọ́dọ̀ kó yan wọn kéré torí wọ́n wà important sí nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe lénìí. Ẹ ṣé gan ma. Thank you, man.
Okay. All right. So now like I said, we had a Bata dance performance, and then next you will see the Onifa being held at the palace of Oba Onisango.
Good day, Kábíyèsí. Kájọ pẹ́ lórí kí bàtà ó pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀. I am Grace Omotawa Lamidi by name, a member of the communication team for Royal Diadem Africa. Can we meet you, sir?
Thank you very much. I am Obaoluwagun Olatunji Adebayo, the Onisango of Sango, Omojogun Ola Enimi Kukute 1.
Thank you, sir. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Can you please tell us the significance of the event taking place at your palace today, sir?
Well, as we all know, to be an Oba is the traditional head of the town, and Kábíyèsí is the custodian of the culture of the people. So we are trying to maintain the culture of the Yoruba tradition. The Ifa priest has been here. He performed the Ifa rituals in consulting the Eledumare to know the situation of the town as it is today and in the nearest future. So he has done that. He has given us some rituals to be performed so that there will be peace in the town.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. What message do you have for the people of Georgia State in USA, and all Yorubas of the world with reference to today's event?
Exactly. You know, I am just coming from America.
Yes, sir.
But I was in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. We have been mobilizing the Yorubas in the US. They know that they are from Africa. They went there, their grandparents went there as slaves, and they were born here. So they don't know their source again. So since they know that they are from Africa, we are encouraging them to relocate back to Africa. Some of them are Nigerians because they took some slaves from Nigeria. 2 years ago, precisely November 4, 2019, I was in the US where they did the anniversary, 400 years of slavery. The slavery trade was done 400 years ago. It's about over 400 years ago. So we were there to celebrate Africa. That was November 2019. So we are telling them that they should relocate to Africa. They know that they are from Africa. Some are from Ghana, some are from Sierra Leone, some are from Guinea, and some too are from Nigeria. So when we are encouraging them that they should come back home, come and establish here, let them come and build house, let them know that home is home. Africa is not America. Africa is not Europe. There are a lot of differences. So we are encouraging them to come back home, and that they should be practicing the Yoruba culture. That is why they are doing the Yoruba Day in Georgia today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the audience, Kábíyèsí.
Yeah.
Okay, viewers, sit back and enjoy yourself. Happy Yoruba Day celebration, Georgia. Thank you, everyone.
Ọlọ́dúnrún ìgbà àti ìyọjọ́ àti ọ̀run òpó mẹ́rin tó lẹ́nu ìbálẹ́pẹ̀lú ìbádá ìbátú ìbáraba síbẹ̀ oṣooṣù ìbáyọ àjẹ́lú ìbáyọ ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́lọ́gbùnrin ìbáyọ àáfàbí ìbáyọ pásọ̀lù ìbáyọ obìnrinlẹ̀ ìbáyọ ọkùnrinlẹ̀ ìbáyọ ó yẹ ọkùnrin nínú àdínú wọn pẹ̀lú gbọdọ̀ wọn mọ́ bàbá wa olúwo sọ́gbó àjàní ìbáyọ ilẹ̀ mo fi ọ́ ìdíkùrì ìfàmù fi ọ́ ìtumọ̀ fi ọ́ ìjìlá mẹ́rin ìjìlá mẹ́rin ìjìlá àárín àwọn òṣèré àwọn olú ikọ̀ láyé ìfàmù fi ọ́ ọ̀mọ́ ẹ̀rọ kò láyé kó bá fi ọ́ kò dúró. ìlú àpòfún pàtó fáwọn òwe làwọn àpòpọ̀ kọ́ ní sáyé torí ọ̀rọ̀ ìlú Ṣàngó ìlú Ṣàngó Ogun State gbogbo Nàìjíríà máa bọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ara bọ̀ ìwà náà ìwà náà dáàmú ilé lójú ilé lójú ọ̀nà láyé ṣe ìwọ́dọ̀ ìlú Ṣàngó àrùn ìwà náà ọ̀run láti ẹ̀kú bàbá mi lè lọ́wọ́ lọ́wọ́ náà wà yìí àjíǹdára jẹ́ ètò òkè ewu èkókò ní ẹja lójú ẹja wọ́n tèrè àbóde pàdé ìwọ́n adábájú kó bá ti dákọ̀ láti ó gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ pẹ́ ṣe owó gbogbo oṣù pé àdàlọ́ ọmọ àti kẹ̀kẹ́ jáwé gbogbo tó kúrò kúrò tó ọ̀tọ̀ kúrò aláìkó lọ́jọ́ àbàtì kúrò aláìkó lọ́jọ́ dẹ́gbà wọ́n bá ìlú wọ́n tọ̀ pa kúrò lẹ́yọ̀. náà lè ká ní o. Ọdún ní ọwọ́ ẹ̀fọ́ ló ń tẹ̀lé ẹ̀fọ́ ló ń tẹ̀lé ẹ̀fọ́ ló ń tẹ̀lé owó dábàá yóò ní ọdún kò ọdún ìfà èyí olóòyà ni awẹ́lẹ́wẹ́mọ́ owó ẹ̀rọ wáyé wọ́n ti kókó rẹ̀ tó akókó rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ní ìṣòro tó bá ti dé ìdí ọmọ já àwùjọ olóòyà ni ó yọ wà fẹ́ dáṣà mọ́ ìfẹ́ ọba àdàlà ọba àdàlìṣà ọba àdàlà kúlẹ̀ màtí ikú pé ọ̀rọ̀ pa ìfẹ́ ìfẹ́ alùpùpù ìbà àdàlùbà báyìí báyìí ìbà ọ̀pùpù ìbà aláwọ̀ ẹ̀pàdánù ṣẹ̀dálàbàtà adẹ́rẹ́sì tẹ̀lé ìfẹ́ pẹ̀lúmá ìtòkúlòkù àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kàkàkì ìbáwó ẹ̀jẹ̀ mọ́kọ́ ẹ̀ má dà ẹ̀jẹ̀ kọ́sálẹ̀ ní sọ́kò ìbáwó gbogbo ẹ̀jẹ̀ ti jẹ́ olórí sọ́kò ìbáyé o tó o bá ti dé báyìí àjìnà ó máa jẹ́ wà báyìí o tó o bá ti ṣe alóòbí ìbáyé o wọ́n kò ní ìlú òbí ìbáwó ẹ̀ bàbá yàrá yóò dá yóò kọ́ ìbáwó ó tún ṣe o àjìnà ó jẹ́ báyìí o ìlú sọ́kò ìlú alábàtì o.
Yes, sir. Well, that's a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dance in one of our culture that we are so heavily proud of. And we are, in this particular moment, we are thanking every one of you. Let me tell you the significance of those three things. I do see it many times when I'm in the palace. And those are the things that would make us, when I was a kid, I normally follow them. I do dance those things like that, especially now as I'm watching them. I was dancing here. I was really dancing here. The significance is that when you have bata that is being introduced in the palace, it means it shows strength and it shows celebration and it shows how unity we are, especially when it comes to the bata dance. You have to be fit to be able to do those things like that. And the same thing happened to most of our people when they are going to war. Those are the things that they do dance to respect, to be able to reflect the strength they already have in what they are doing. And the other one again that is there is what we call Ifa, which is more of an oracle. Oracle is a kind of a thing that we depend on in the olden days to guide, to lead, and to direct us into a divinity of something that's very, very important. You have to know quite all right that the Obatala, that the what I call the father that married the woman, one of the first daughter of Oduduwa, is an Ifa man, and he always used this Ifa to follow around with Oduduwa. So from there we have that heritage of that Ifa being passed around in every particular palace to indicate how we can be able to guide ourselves to things that are unknown. Up to now, I still believe in it because it's part of what most of my own father in the line of my heritage in the King's area, they do still believe in it and they still have it. But nowadays, many people have turned it to an app, which are very making this country to be much more important. So find that most of this, our oracle, are already reflecting in the areas of technology, which is very, very important. The third one is what you saw, the dancing that are actually going on there. The dancing is a kind of an appeal to women who are interested, and we have that, what do you call it, that the people that are dancing, we find them to be a part of Oshun that we do. We, mostly by women, they're surrounded by the women, and we still believe it today. For example, we believe that if you are looking for a child, or you are looking for a direction of where your baby has to, you can consult Oshun, and the Oshun can give you a kind of interpretation that could be able to give you a better understanding of when you are looking for a child, and whatever you know that you are confused about. We still do it today. You find it that all those three things, when you create a palace, those three things are there. In fact, the king that was there left, was it not on Thursday or Friday, went back to Nigeria to put all these things together for us in Songo there. And I want to applaud him so much for him to have flew back and organized all these things for us. And those things, we are going to be much better about it when we are going to be talking in the future. This is not going to be the end of this show. You are going to see us regularly coming into this platform. And the detail of those concepts of what we are bringing, we are going to give you the detail of it. Our unique heritage is very, very important, and very, very important to those of us that are here. We thank you so much, and God bless you for listening to all those our heritage show. Thank you, man.
Wow, you know, watching that was my first time seeing that performance, and I'm just excited. I really appreciate the Oba for taking the time to see the significance and wanted to share it worldwide, especially that particular traditional part. It was 3 parts that was explained to me: the Bata dance, the Osong, and Onifa. That had to be performed, and that was actually at the King's Palace. So you all were seeing that at the King's Palace. So we're just excited about today. So next, you know, whenever you're talking about an event, you have to know about the history. What is the origin of the Yoruba tribe? And so with this being the first annual event, we only thought it was right to have the origin of the Yoruba nation from the palace of His Royal Majesty. And I will let Emmanuel introduce his name because I don't want to mess it up because of my southern drawl that I have. And so you all will, after Emmanuel introduces His Royal Highness, Royal Majesty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then you will hear from him next.
All right. First of all, I think maybe I should say it in Yoruba, or rather in English.
Yeah.
Now, it is because this is the throne that I'm connected, and this is the throne where, or the particular origin place where I was born, and this is what I've been practicing all my life. Before this, our wonderful honorable now caught me and said, "Oh, you have to tell your culture, you have to tell your heritage, you have to share all these things to those people that are in America here." So, and there's no rightful person who can be able to declare the authority on that. In fact, before this thing was happening, they sent me a book of how the origin of Yoruba. I think you are the one that arranged it for me. Said this is have to be there this way. So when they sent it to me, then it became known to me that when you talk about the origin, I'm part of those particular lineage of that origin, and that particular lineage of that origin is what our Majesty, which is His Royal Majesty Oba Dr. Olusonya Adegboyega Dosunmu, Commander of CON Olowu Kangure, Akobi Odua, Amororo II, the Olowu and the paramount ruler of the ancient Owu Kingdom. That's long, that's a long.
I know I would have messed it up.
That's a long name, but what we have to do, we have to give them who honor is due to. So in this particular area, the king also asked a representative to be able to carry out that discussion in a much better with all of us. But any area that you are not clear about there, like I said, this is just going to be a celebration of this new resolution. But I guarantee you that we will come back, we'll institutionalize all these things very well for you, so that each of you, you've been practicing it here, but some of you may not aware about it, but definitely we're going to talk detail about it as we are moving on. So without not wasting much of our time, let's listen to what the king is going to say concerning our origin of Yoruba.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
My name is Olumide Benson, Communication Officer, the Foundation for Royal Diadem Children Empowerment.
My name is Babatunde Oyetayo, the President and Founder of Foundation for Royal Diadem Africa.
We are here in Owu Kingdom at the Palace of the Olowu of Owu, Oba Adegboyega Dosunmu Amororo II, CON, main Commander of the Order of Niger, as conferred by late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Come with us and let's meet with him. Thank you. Okay, yes, we are here in the Palace of Olowu of Owu, and we are here with the representative of the Oba Adegboyega Dosunmu, and here is the representative in person of
Chief Akin Obimakinde.
Chief Akin Obimakinde. So, sir, history has it that Owu people are found all over everywhere that we have the Yorubas. And so, because of that, can you give us, a highlight of how the Owu people came into being, and then how the Owu has succeeded in, being found all around everywhere where Yorubas are mentioned?
Okay, my name is Chief Akin Obimakinde. Today I am the Jagunna of Owu Kingdom, here representing His Royal Majesty Oba Dr. Olusonya Adegboyega Dosunmu Amororo II, the Olowu and the paramount ruler of this ancient Owu kingdom.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
All right.
All right, sir.
Now to your question. It's no new story that Owus are found everywhere in any place that you call Yoruba settlements. Let me just start from. Okay, let me just say that Owus can be likened with the Israelis of the world. That there's no place you go that you don't find Israelites. We can tell stories about that, how that came to be. Now we are Owus that found ourselves in Abeokuta here.
Okay.
The originality of the Owus starts from around the Niger. Ibi tó ń pè ní àwọn ake Òwu tó ti wọ́n ní if I don't mind.
You are free to do that, sir. Carry on.
Wọ́n ní Òwu alétété ní lódò Ọya sort of ó wà ní oríkì Òwu ọmọ Asunkúngbadé alétété.
In a nutshell, it means Owu emanated around the river Niger.
From around the Niger.
From around the river Niger.
Where cotton planting was very, very prominent.
Okay, sir.
Because the Olowu, otherwise that was known as Asunkúngbadé, and if you want to talk about Asunkúngbadé, Olowu was the first person to receive the crown directly from the main progenitor, the Oduduwa, the father of the first daughter the father of the mother of Olowu, and the father of the Olowu was Orunmila, who was the priest of Oduduwa.
Okay.
In the ancient days. He was the priest, and he was into cotton planting. Okay. And you could plant cotton very well then around the Niger. That was why he was there and he was doing his cotton planting there. And Obatala Emi was his name.
Okay, sir.
But who always went about with his Opele in the name of Orunmila. So
Opele-Ifa,
so to say. He was Obatala, and he was preoccupied then with the farming and hunting. So, and he was basically into cotton planting. And you know the cotton is white.
Yes, sir.
And he would prepare even his dresses from the cotton he was planting. And that was why you will always find Obatala in white.
Okay. So apart from the fact that he was cultivating cotton,
yes,
he was also sewing the cotton himself, which means that we can
even
infer,
his dresses.
yes, which means that we can infer that as long as he was also farming, at the same time he was also making dresses for himself.
For himself, yes.
Okay. That's good, sir.
And that was why you will always find Obatala in white.
Okay, sir.
And he was known for white at that time. And all of the things that we used to appease the idol Obatala will be white. Nothing short of white. And like I was saying, the Olowu was derived from the coinage of Omo Baba Olowu.
Okay.
Baba Olowu then was Obatala, who was doing his planting around the Niger. And because everybody knows that story, that the mother of Olowu, Asunkúngbadé, was Iyunade, who was the first daughter of Oduduwa, that had Olowu as his first son. So it was one of the visits that the mother did to her father, Olowu then, Oduduwa. Meaning Oduduwa was the grandfather of Asunkúngbadé Olowu, who then was Omo Baba Olowu, and their Baba Olowu then was Obatala. So it was during one of the visits the mother made to her father then that that he made the visit. She made the visit with her toddler son that was that was playing with the father. The father then, Ududua, that can be said to be the grandfather of Olowu. So it was when it was time for the mother to leave with her son to where they came from to greet the grandfather. It was when he was to leave that the son was crying because the son was sitting on the lap of his father, of his grandfather.
Okay, sir.
So when it was time for the mother to take her son away from the grandfather, that the boy was crying. As he was crying, the father noticed that the boy was busy playing with the beaded crown of the father, of the grandfather, who was on the door.
Okay,
So when he was to leave, the boy was crying. As he was crying, they were wondering what was really the problem with the child, with the son, or with the grandson of Ududua.
Who was crying.
Who was crying. So in the course of trying to appeal to make him keep,
calm him down.
Calm down, not to stop crying. He noticed that he slept off. Okay. And each time they thought he had slept off, and they were about to carry him and take him away or back to where they came from. Then he would just wake up and started crying.
Okay.
After some time, they noticed that he was crying because of the beaded crown the grandfather was wearing. And so now they realized that it was because of the crown he was crying. When they noticed that, then the father now said, if it is because of this crown, this boy was crying, therefore let me just give it to him and take it away. And that was why the Olowu one of the eulogies they give to him is Olowu Asukungbade, because he cried to receive the crown from the grandfather, who was Odudua. And that was why he was the first Oba to receive crown from the grandfather. And in fact, the crown the grandfather was wearing directly. And that's the meaning of Owu Asukungbade, Owu Lakokoda. Owu Lakokoda meaning he was the first to receive crown and to be so honored by the grandfather, who was Oduduwa. Oduduwa honored him with his crown that he was wearing. He was honoring his grandson, who was to go back, and because he was to be going then, so because he was crying because of the crown, the grandfather now gave the crown to him.
Okay, was it as a result of that the Owu kingdom now emanated from the river area, the river Niger area, and then moved down to where we are today?
The dispersal was as a result of war.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to mention what year, but I think it was around the 17th or 16th century that war broke up.
Okay,
you know, I can tell you that in Yoruba settlements there were four major powers: the Oyos, the Ifes, the Ijebus, and the Owus were the four major powers in the Yoruba kingdom. So, and at different times, 3 other settlements had to go to war with the Olowus, against the Olowu.
Okay, sir.
Now, so and at all these times, Olowu had conquered each of them, the Ifes at different times, the Oyos at different times, the Jebus at different times. So the war that really broke up later was around the place I called Owu-Ipole. That really broke and everybody got dispersed And that was when we found ourselves here in Abeokuta. When that war broke up, and it was a war of all of these other Yoruba settlements coming together to face that power.
So basically, in a nutshell, it means that having conquered a series of wars, that's why the Owu has been able to, dominate this vicinity, and then the kingdom of Owu has been created upon this land that we have today, which is called the Owu of Owu, isn't it, sir?
The Owu,
yes, sir.
Abeokuta here. And even around Ogun State here, there's a place, there are settlements called Owus in Ijebu. There's even a particular place they call Owu attempts to get settled as after the war, the aftermath of the war. We found ourselves
which means that's the reason why we have Owu all around the Yoruba settlement. Wherever the Yoruba settlement are mentioned, we have. Now, having said that, sir, what can you say is the significance of the Owu people to the Yoruba as a tribe? The economic and probably the social significance of the Owu people to Yoruba as a tribe.
Well, the economic significance, Owus are traditionally farmers and hunters, and in fact warriors. Like I said, no Yoruba nation that faces Owu that had conquer over Owu. No nation. Even when they came together, Owus were never conquered, but we were dispersed. We were just dispersed because we were held up at a place that I call Owu Ipole now. We were caught up there. And it was 7 years of
yes, 7 years of the war.
7 years of siege.
Of the siege. That and therefore all of those warriors that kept Owus indoor for 7 years didn't leave, and they were wondering what were the Owus eating, where they were caught up with. So the Oba on the throne then had no option than to open the gates. So anywhere you find a way to live is where you take. So all of those that went out through the gate that will lead to Kwara, that's why you are finding Owus around there. All of those that left the place through the gate that led them to other places around Ife, that's why you find them there. And all of those that got out of the place through the gate that would lead them to where they are, that's why we Owus in Abeokuta find ourselves here, because of the gates, because of the gate through which we left the settlement.
Okay, sir. That's noted, sir. Sir, now, having settled all around the Yoruba settlement that we have all over there, what can you proffer for the Yorubas to be able to preserve their traditions and culture, especially those who are resident outside the country or who are in the Western world? How can we preserve our culture and tradition?
Okay, as much as we know here in Abeokuta, we so much cherish our culture that it's a culture to be kept, and for our upcoming youths to really follow, because our culture is so rich to the extent that it gives respect to elders and we don't compromise respect. That's why the Yoruba man, if he's going to greet an elderly person, is always flat down as a male, and the female will go on her 2 knees to greet and say hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Okay, sir.
That's a culture
Okay, sir.
not to be forgotten.
Okay, sir. Okay, that's one of the culture you have just mentioned.
Greeting.
Yes, greeting. And I believe that there's so much to our culture than even just greeting, which talks about the way our manner, the way we dress, the language itself. So how can we really encourage the upcoming generation to be able to preserve this culture so that we don't lose this culture, and as much as we can also export this culture to everywhere in the world where we have the Yorubas settling?
This is why I said the Yoruba culture is never compromised. As I'm sitting here now, as an elderly person, if I see a younger person just going and just walking past you, you have to call him back, correct him. This is not the way to greet an elderly person. So you keep that and pass the culture on to those coming behind you.
Okay, sir. Now, is there anything here in Owu that is being done, probably maybe as a form of celebration, in order to be able to preserve the culture and then keep the culture going?
Yes, we do that very well here in Owu. That's why we used to have, up till now, an annual celebration or annual gathering we call Odun Omo Olowu. That had been even from the ancient settlement of Owu, because it's a celebration of the birth of the Owu as a community and celebration of God's benevolence and celebration of God's harvesting and good harvesting of our agriculture.
Okay.
And that's why here, anytime we're doing the celebration, the symbol is yam, showing that we're thanking God for our harvest, bumper harvest this year, and the symbol is a piece of big yam celebrating God's mercy and leniency over us for the year.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now, the Yorubas in Georgia are celebrating the Yoruba Day. So, what advice or what word of encouragement will you have for the entire Yoruba nation in order to be able to forge ahead as one tribe, and at the same time to be able to preserve our culture and traditions?
Well, my advice for all Yorubas in diaspora is for them not to forget home. That north, west, east, or south, home is home. You must always remember that you must have been taken from a place to wherever you find yourself now. Except you want to say that even your great ancestors were that their land. But if you know that you are just away from home, you should not forget for your home.
That's interesting. So we've just heard it all from Chief, and he's saying to all Yorubas all over the world, wherever we might be or we might find ourselves, that we should not forget our home. Our home is our heritage, and because we are going to come back home, so we should keep the home well and good at all times.
Thank you so much for the introduction of history of about origin of Yoruba. And this will be much more better. Like I said to most of us, that we just want to learn and hear about what or where the origin of Yorubas are. We have done a little bit of learning on that. I'm from that particular origin, so I actually encourage them to come to be able to talk to the people, to let them know Owula Koda. We have a national anthem that we normally sing. We say, Owula Koda o, bí ẹ̀dọ́wù ẹ bèrè wo, ẹ bèrè wo, Owula Koda o, bí ẹ̀dọ́wù ẹ bèrè wo. So, please, thank you.
Yes, and so we really appreciate that origin of the history of the Yoruba nation coming in. We hope that it was very educational to you all, as it was for me, being that I'm still learning a lot about the Yoruba tribe and the whole Yoruba culture.
It's an institution.
Yes, it's an institution. So next we will have, we want to take time to thank our sponsors. And so our sponsors that we have, I want to make sure I mention them. I will come back, but Geotech, Royal Diadem International Consortium, we have Yoruba Elite Munchen, Status Network, Val Promotions. I also want to thank Adua Olawuyi, the artist, also Yemisi Akaremi of Yemtos Fashion of the United Kingdom, who is also one of our board members of RDIC, Captain Adeyemi Dari, which you will hear from shortly, and our own Prince, who's here with us, Alayinke Tujuai Show. Hopefully I didn't mess it up. If I mess it up, he'll tell me later.
All right.
All right. So next, when you think about the Yoruba culture, you have to remember about art.
Exactly.
And so we now appreciate having our very own, I mentioned his name before, Adua Olawuyi, who's an artist, is located in Nigeria?
Yes.
In Nigeria.
Yes,
and you say he also is a lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
In fact, when I met this guy, I never believed that an artist could become a lawyer. And his father was the person that actually did an opening prayer for us.
Yeah, the Archbishop.
The Archbishop of Methodist. That is his father. And because his father is so passionate about Yoruba, so that drew the son to become an artist. And he left after finish his law. He said, Daddy, I'm not practicing. I'm going to go and study law. So he went to study art again. And he's now becoming successful. In US, he has sold about more than 10 of his art with the US government here. And he travels a lot. He's a very young guy.
Yes.
Talented. And we are looking forward to seeing him today.
Yeah, so brace yourself for what your eyes will behold with the magnificent talents of Adua Olawuyi, an artist in Nigeria. All I can say is wow.
Adua.
Okay.
That means prayer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good day, everyone. It's so good to be here today. I'm Olawi Samuel, and I'm a visual artist and a creative director. And I'm so glad that I'm on this show right now. You know, it's a great pleasure to be here. You know, making my appearance and my talk on the Yoruba show. And quickly, before I go into the nitty-gritty of today, I just like to, you know, say some things in Yoruba, you know, because this is a Yoruba show, and we are trying to appeal to our culture. So I would say, Eka Orogbegbe Eniyan, Ṣe Dada Lẹ́wà, Ṣara Mókun Dada. Inú mi dùn láti wà níbàyí lónìí láti bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ nípa iṣẹ́ tí mò ń ṣe tó jẹ́ iṣẹ́ artists, àwọn tó ń ya àwòrán. Sorry for those that don't understand what I just said. Well, just greeting and saying thank you for being here today. So I would like to just briefly talk about my art. You know, I started this art thing a long time ago. You know, it's a long journey for me. right from when I was a kid until to this moment. Thank God that things have been going beautifully well, And now making reference to our art, our culture, especially here in Yoruba setting, I've been able to get this balance between African art and contemporary when it comes to my painting, because I mostly do abstract works, and so I like to talk about our settings, when it comes to African setting, what we do, in our culture, especially Yoruba, things we are used to doing, things we are known for doing, So I use my art as a means to remind people of those things we used to do, those things that a lot of people have forgotten about. These modern days, a lot of things have transpired, technology has come into the picture, and a lot of people don't even remember their own town, they don't even know what's going on or what has existed before. So my art is a way of a reminder to communicate to people about what they have been missing, talking about the celebrations we have, when it comes to the kind of drums we have, the kind of merriments we have, the way we do it. When it comes to our cultural marriage, in the Yoruba setting, there's a way we go about it, there's a way we respect our elders, there's a way we do all those things. These are the things that I try to put in my paintings, talking about how hardworking our women can be, going to the farm with their spouse, this togetherness, this loving thing that we do in our culture, that respect, when it comes to what do you call it, palm wine tappers, going on the palm fruit to tap wine, a lot of things are things I try to project in my paintings, just to communicate these things to us. So I think I'll be showing some of my paintings so you can have a reference to what I'm talking about, so you can at least have a pictorial image of what we do in our culture, in our Yoruba setting, in our African setting, that we need to remind ourselves of rather, and we need to diligently respect it and not throw it under the carpet. Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back, welcome back. I wonder were you all in awe just as I was with such creativity coming from that artist. So when you think about art, all of that comes in with what we're talking about, the celebrating the Yoruba Day. You can't have a culture and not have something that holds that culture together, which is their value system. Our values are embedded into our soul. We as Americans have different and sometimes similar values shared by the Yorubas. I'm glad that Captain Diary will share with us the Yoruba value system. So how many of you all would say that how many of those values, when you hear them, will you say that you possess? So get ready because class starts right now.
Especially nígbà tí wọ́n sọ fún mi wípé Captain Dare want to láti sọ fún wa bá a ṣe lè máa hùwà, mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ dájú wípé ó jẹ́ kan pàtàkì tán fi jẹ́ pé wọ́n ń wò nínú ìwà tiwọn tán fi dé ibi tó ga lénìí yìí. A fẹ́ ká gbọ́ gbogbo tán fẹ́ sọ so that a lè jẹ́ nǹkan tá a lè múlò. Kì í ṣe professor o ṣùgbọ́n aeronautic engineer ni máa yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí wàá rò pé bóyá professor ní university ni. Please, here you welcome my brother, Captain Dare. Thank you, sir.
Good day, my brothers and sisters of the Yoruba nation, and a special good day to the people of the great state of Georgia. My name is Captain Adeyemi Dare, and I am a board member of the Royal Diadem. Because of the short time I have for this presentation today, I would ask that you allow me to stand on existing protocols. As a short background to this presentation, when we were discussing the run of the show for this event, it came to mind that one aspect of the Yoruba culture that it's almost forgotten needed to be included in our program of events for today. And this item is the Yoruba value system. In my mind, this is one of the biggest or greatest gifts that the Yoruba nation has to offer the world. The articulation of these values was cropped from a piece by Mr. Lanre Ade Basamanta a few years ago, and it has stayed with me because I feel it is so germane to some of the issues that we're dealing with the world over today. Now, almost everybody here has heard the old adage that money is the root of all evils. I would go so far as to add to it that it's not just money, but materiality is the root of a lot of the problems we have in societies all over the world today. The interesting thing is that in the Yoruba value system, money, wealth, materiality is the sixth and the last element of the value system. What are the first five? The first of our value systems is what we call la'akaye. La'akaye, simply translated, means knowledge, which we call ogbon or common sense. Wisdom, which we call or translate to imo, which means deep understanding. And understanding, which means oye. Without this, we have nothing else. Even the entire value system falls apart if you don't have la'akaye, or knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The second of our value system, interestingly enough, is akin or akinkanju. It actually means valor or bravery. I put the word baloguns here because it's an interesting follow to the first value system. Why? Because the Yoruba people were turned in ancient times into a warring nation. The lands we have now, the independence of culture and values that we have, was hard fought by our ancestors. And leading the battle are these people we call Baloguns. They are typically the right hand of the Yoruba king. When the Yoruba king sits on his throne, you would usually find his Balogun on his right hand. So that is why valor is so important. We have very little tolerance for cowardice in our culture. The third is Iwa Omoluabi. Iwa simply means character. Omoluabi means well brought up, well raised person. Also implies integrity. When you put character and integrity together, they would look at a person, or we would look at a person and say he's an Omoluabi, which means a person of character that was raised well. And this is what we try to do with our children, raise them well, so they can be productive members of society. The fourth, the Yoruba people call it Anishe Lapa Tiki Shule. Ani means to have, Ishe is work, Lapa is just your hands. And they put Tiki Shule because it is not enough to have work. You can say my work is armed robbery. That's not good. So Tiki Shule means you're not a thief or a cheat or somebody that manipulates. It means having an honest living, having a profession that is known and accepted by society. I'll just stop here and give you an example. When we were kids, if you drive into my compound with a fancy car, if my parents don't know you, the first question they would ask is, who is this person? What does he do? Because they want to know the source of that wealth that brings that fancy car to their house. And if it's not acceptable, you can have all the money in the world, they're going to walk you out of their house. You are not wanted here, would be the response you get from them. In today's world, anybody that drives a fancy car gets virtually everywhere because people are not asking questions. Is he a drug dealer? Is he a thief? Is he an embezzler? It seems like in the world today, most people don't want to know. They just want to see the wealth. And I believe that is so wrong. The fifth is what we call E. Simply means reputation and honor. That is, we like people to be human beings of honor. We like people to have a gait around being proud of what they have accomplished and what they mean to the society. Now, the last is the one we all know. It's called Owo or Oro. I just simply call it, Owo means money, Oro means wealth. I just call it material wealth. In the Yoruba culture, it does not matter how much money you have. If you don't have the first 5, you are still going to be treated as a third-class citizen. You're going to be shunned from most things in the society. That is my short presentation on the Yoruba value system today. I thank you very much. I hope that you have all been enjoying this program as I have, this celebration as I have, and I know that we've got a few more of the program. Thank you.
Welcome back, welcome back. You have been joining us at the first annual Yoruba Cultural Celebration virtual event here in Georgia. And you all can see we have some nice looking gentlemen up here with me. And our next portion of the program is talking about our roundtable discussion. This is probably one of my favorite parts. I might like all of them, but this is one of my favorite portions of the event. We get to have real talk about those misconceptions between people of the same color but living on separate continents. These misconceptions oftentimes hinder our unity between Africans in the diaspora and African Americans. This event seeks to better understand each other. So I will be your facilitator, and of course, you all that know me, I'm going to jump in a little bit, but I'm going to make sure that our panel, that you get a chance to hear from our panel. So I'm joined by 4 distinguished panelists. First, we have Georgia State Representative Sandra G. Scott of District 76, who is my former colleague. We shared the same office suite at the state capitol, and we both represented portions of Clayton County. And I'd like to say this about my friend Representative Scott. If you're going to a fight for justice, you definitely want Representative Scott on your side. And so she's going to represent on our panel from the African American perspective. Welcome, Representative Scott, and thank you. I know you all are in legislative session and having a hard session. Earlier we saw Chairwoman Berno. So I just thank you for taking time out to join us for this first annual Yoruba Day celebration.
Thank you, Representative Stovall, and I'm glad to be here this afternoon. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
All right, thank you. And next we have, to my immediate left, Dr. Babs Onabanjo. I know I was going to mess it up, so Dr. Babs, you have to correct me. Okay. And that's for the rest of the people on the panel, except for the one at the end. I know his name by heart. Okay. Dr. Babs, as he's formerly always known, he's a professor and president of the A.D. King Foundation, Inc., and so he'll be representing from the Yoruba's perspective. Thank you, Dr. Babs, and we really appreciate you. Dr. Babs is very known in the community, and we could not do this panel discussion without making sure that he's here with us. So welcome, Dr. Babs.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
And next, right next to Dr. Babs, we have Bo Adeji. Okay, I missed a couple of them. Thank you for correcting me. And he's with Impasse, and he's the Prime Minister and PRO of the Orade Kingdom of Georgia. And so, did I pronounce that right?
Orade Kingdom.
Okay, I'm still working on my southern drawl, y'all.
Orade Kingdom of Georgia.
Thank you. And he'll be representing the Yoruba's perspective as well. And next to him, to his immediate left, definitely last but definitely not least, my good friend, Reverend Dr. Paul Q. Fortson. He's the president and CEO of the Paradise Community Development Corporation, Incorporated. And we've collaborated on a number of community events over the years. And like I said, a family friend, I won't even say how long we've been knowing each other. But he'll be representing the African Americans' perspective. So thank you, Reverend Dr. Paul Q. Fortson, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, so we have a short amount of time on this panel discussion, but a lot of good things. Matter of fact, before we brought you all back with us. We were having a good, I would say heated discussion, but we had a good discussion going on. And so hopefully we'll be able to share that with you all here. So let's get started. We're going to jump right in. So this particular portion of the program talks about misconceptions that are held when it comes to Africans in the diaspora and those African Americans like myself, Representative Scott, and also with Reverend Fortson. So I would like to ask each one of the panelists, and I'll start, of course, with ladies first, while I represent the Scott, to name 2 misconceptions and what can we do to help eliminate those misconceptions that are between the Africans in the diaspora and African Americans.
Okay, thank you, Representative Stovall. One of the misconceptions that we have that we really need to get over is one of the basic ones that we all can think about is who have suffered the most, whether it is us as African Americans or is it the Africans who have suffered the most in this country. That's one thing that we could talk about, and I'm sure get into a conversation about which one of us have suffered the most, and I guess a lot that could be said about both, because we all experience a lot, and we know that in Africa we could talk about the homes and the way the peoples are treated, but here in America, looking lately, and definitely over the last 4 years, I could definitely ask the question of who is suffering the most, and we can look at what's going on today in society today. We can see that we continue to suffer here in the United States a lot, in suffering ways in which we can't even imagine. Our people are suffering today. We suffer from police brutality. We suffer from a lack of health care. And the same thing happens over in Africa. They suffer from the same thing. So we have to ask ourselves, who suffers the most? Who suffers the most? And we can't say, well, to my opinion, I would say it seems like the Africans suffer the most, but while here in the United States, sometimes I would like to beg to differ, because we have people hurting on all levels, hurting to degrees that they should not be hurting, and definitely here in the United States, when we're supposed to be the world's greatest comforting place for people to come live and enjoy. It seems like it's just not like that, not even here, because we suffer from disparities in medication, we suffer from disparities in healthcare, education, and everything, and they're still suffering over in Africa. So I will continue to ask myself who suffers the most. But when we look at it, we can say over in Africa, they're suffering more than us. And on the other hand, when you think about it, you could have to look at it in both dynamics. So this is a discussion I definitely would like for us to talk about who suffers the most. And then we can look at the next thing is talking about our natural hair as African American women. You know, coming up as a little girl, I used to have natural hair. Then my mother started pressing my hair. But once I joined the military and was leaving home, I was like, okay. And then I was going to career. I would say, who gonna be able to do my hair in career? Then that was probably the worst thing I could have done, was to get a perm. But I was going in an unknown land, and I didn't know of anyone that would be able to do my hair. So I thought that I need to get something that I would be able to do. So I permed my hair. So I was reading an article where the little girl's mother told her, you need to stop wearing your hair naturally because you're not from Africa. But you know, so you know, when I start thinking about that, I was saying, you know, coming up, we all did, you know, but we got to the thing and start getting these perms in our hair and make it easy to comb and all of that. So that is another stigma that a lot of people have, and a lot of people, you know, like in the workplace, they have today. That is why we have come out with the Crown Act, trying to get the Crown Act, because here in the United States, African American women are being discriminated against in the workplace for the way they wear their hair, because they have gone back to wearing their hair natural. They have gone back to wearing the big braids and just wearing the afros and just letting it flow. So those are the two misconceptions that we have, and need to realize that that is our natural hair, and that's really the way we as African Americans should have the natural hair, because that's what we came into the world with, a lot of us. Some of us had some good hair. I was just not one that was fortunate enough to have the good hair.
But thank you so very much, Representative Scott. Those are some definite key points. And I haven't, I hadn't thought about it until you said something about how much, who has suffered the most, and even especially about that natural hair. That's always a debate with women, even men as well, but I think more so with women. So we're going to go with seniority with Dr. Babbs. Dr. Babbs, share with us the two misconceptions, and what do you think we can do to help eliminate them?
Thank you so much, Representative Stovall. Yes, I think the first one I want to think about is that Africans are better than African Americans. That is definitely a misconception. We are one blood, we are one family, and we should not create distractions now to divide ourselves. So that's the more reason why we need to come together, so we can create the explosion that we needed to create as a family, because I call us family, really, because we're not different, we're the same blood. And so it's very important for us to know that that is a misconception. It is not the truth. The second thing is that Africans are too proud. And so they think that, in a way, that reflects in everything you do. One thing I want to clear out is this. There's a way of life, which is called culture. The African-American culture is different because of the experience. The African culture is different because of the experience. So we need to match the two and begin to understand ourselves so we can communicate better. And we don't say one is better than the other. Okay? So that's a very key thing. For example, look at what's happening in Africa. There is strife everywhere. Like Dr. King would say that peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of justice. Whether it's in America, if there's no justice, there's no peace, okay? Right. Whether it's in Africa, there's no justice, there's no peace. So we have to understand the fundamentals here and know that we got to love each other, because love will transcend any matter, no matter how difficult it is. It will break boundaries. Darkness cannot cure darkness, only light can. And just like Dr. King said, it cannot cure hate, only love can. So again, I think in that perspective, we need to understand each other and know that we are one. And because of that, I think that the leadership of the African American must come together and form a lobbying leadership force, so that when anything happens in Africa, the African people know that we have people here who stand for us. So that we have policies that are very pro African generation. Look at the present generation right now in the White House. We put, the Democrats in place right now. What are we asking them to in return? We gotta demand something in return. Otherwise, they won't do anything for us. So let's form a leadership together so that we can have proactive policies towards Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Dr. Babbs. And even with those Africans believing that they're better than African Americans, and I like that we are one blood. And even coming back with talking about unity and bringing and love that can conquer all. So next we will hear from Reverend Dr. Fortson. What are those two misconceptions? And as you all see, I'm intermingling African American, African, then African American, then African. And so we'll go back and forth like that.
Thank you, Representative Stovall. This is much needed and an absolute conversation. I've been enjoying my conversation with these great family members. I'm going to call them, but they are my family. We've been having a great conversation, and so thank you for allowing us to lend our small voice to this conversation of reconciliation. I've agreed with what Representative Scott has said and the doctor here concerning the misconceptions that we have between the two of us, African Americans and African, or those who are African. I believe that we're all African. I think the idea that, and I know that there are some people who, before we get into these misconceptions, but I know that there are some people, and I've just heard this of late, who have a problem with the use of the term African American. And I think that we should keep that in its proper context. I know that it has evolved, and as the doctor said, the reason African Americans view things in our culture the way we do is based upon that experience of trauma, the experience of discrimination that we've had historically in this country. But I wouldn't be so quick to get rid of the African American distinction, because it is, when understood properly, just an opportunity. It is actually our attempt to try to connect, with our African heritage. It's an attempt for us to try to find a connecting chord with our African heritage. And so I think that just in the labeling, signification, just in that label, African American, it is an opportunity for us to connect, to come together, to address some of these misconceptions. And I think one of the misconceptions is Representative Scott alluded to is this narrative of comparison. You know, this idea of who suffered more, who's suffering more, the Africans. Is it police brutality in America, or is it poverty in Africa, or these kinds of things? In my mind, suffering is suffering. Is suffering. If you hurt, if you're in pain, whether that pain is in your shoulder or whether that pain is in your hip or your leg, is pain, and you need it eliminated. And so I think that's the first thing we should do. But I think also the misconception that there is this division between us is disheartening, because there is a mistrust. It's this idea that Africans are not plugged into the struggle of African Americans, that they come to America for the opportunities that African Americans have been fighting for since the abolition of slavery. At the end of the day, it's almost like, well, they want to come and take advantage of the opportunities, but they don't want to plug into the political and civil rights struggle that we still are involved in. I think that narrative of comparison is damaging. And it should be, these conversations that we're having now will go a long way to try to eliminate those kinds of things as well. I think the unity in name, I mentioned it earlier, I just didn't label it. We should have that unity in name. Yeah, African American, African, it's all there. We're all family. I know that I was speaking with my brother here when we were coming up, and I said, you know, I participated in an ancestry study. The great Skip Mason, he's a great historian. He did his doctoral work on the ancestry of African Americans and whether that affects them. And so I was able to trace my ancestry back to Nigeria. Wow. And man, did that make me feel, when I told you that made me feel good. But here is the really cool part. I was reading about 2019 was the 400th year celebration of what they call those 20-odd Negroes that showed up on the shores of Virginia. Well, when I traced my ancestry back, I'm in Georgia now, but my ancestry landed in Virginia.
Wow.
And then we showed where the Fortsons, they came to Virginia, it's documented, and they then brought us back, or my ancestors back, to Georgia. So when you think about the fact that, say, in 1619, those 20-odd Negroes that landed in Virginia, and then I and my lineage landed in Virginia, this idea that we are somehow different because I was born in America and not born in Africa, I think is divisive, but I think it is counterintuitive, even, because we look alike. Got it? We sound alike. And me being a reverend, and I'm done now. Me being a reverend, you know, I'm part of the black church. And the black church has been the vase by which many of the African retentions were restored and protected, almost an Ark of the Covenant kind of thing, where we stored many of these African retentions and tried our best, from hair and food and the way we worship, we tried to retain those kinds of things as best we could, despite the trauma. So, thank you again. I know you know not to open the mic to a black preacher.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Reverend Fortson. You know, that labeling, and also when you said the unity in name. So next we will hear from our brother Bo.
I would say I thank you very much for the invite to participate in this forum. Indeed, this forum is a good quick interface to bridge the gap. There is forever widening between cousins of the same mother. So I thank you very much, Omowale Stovall and Emmanuel Adeyemo. This is indeed needed. It should have started last year or 10 years ago. But thank you for bringing this. I want to intimate you that with a misconception that we Africans have. First of all, there is no African America. There are Africans in America. Okay? Because if you had, just like Malcolm X said, if you brought a cat from Africa, you brought it to the United States, and it has children, do you put a cat inside a microwave oven and it incubates and brought out some pups? Do you call it biscuit? You call it cat, right? So now my ancestors brought you back in their nutsack. Allow me to speak French a little bit. All the way here. Does that make you what they call you here or what you call yourself? It's a bad misconception. There is no difference between us at all. The only difference which will soon dissipate, is the fact that we are just come Africans. You have been here way before us. As a matter of fact, you are the only one who could liberate Africans.
That's good.
You are the only one. They are only the missing link, because you know the nature of this beast. White folks talk with forked tongues. You have been here, you mastered them, you cried with them, you laughed with them, you suffer with them, you worked for them for nothing. They broke your back, they broke my people's back. You know them better. So when they sit down at a table with us, you're supposed to be saying, you know what?
I'm sorry, Representative Stovall, but I have to dip in that one because
go ahead.
On point. You're so on point.
Can you let him finish a little bit?
Okay.
We didn't interrupt everybody else. We let him talk. I want to make sure Mr. Bowe get his point in. So if you can hold just a little bit, and then I'll let you jump back in.
I want to tell you that you, the Africans, are a people who forgot the time, but who time never forgot. And this is a turnaround, a rebirth of you in our present day, in this time and space continuum. So we must grab hold onto this platform and make a quick turnaround, because we are forever widening the gap by not coming together to discuss. Misconception number 2. We suffer from a legacy of disbelief. Mostly Africans. I don't know, whatever they have done to Mother Africa actually damaged Mother Africa so much to the point that we think we are just leeches. You build the world, not just Africa alone. You ruled for eons. They just came around, give and take, maybe 500, 2,000 years ago. Look at how much they have damaged in 2,000 years. Your ancestors ruled for eons.
That's right.
Okay? The disbelief I was going to talk about is that Africans are leeches and we don't create nothing. If you go back home, our people think the white folks make cars. They discover all of these things. All these things, all these technologies that you are enjoying. If you told them that no, they didn't do that, as a matter of fact, you are the brain behind it. No, they won't believe you. They will look at you as if you must be on crack. But guess what? Without you today, America is nothing. So I want to let you know, brothers and sisters, without you, Africa is nothing. So when we came here, we came in search of our brothers and sisters. We suffered too. I remember I came here, and I met a brother by the gas station. God knows how many years that was. And he asked me, brother, say, what's your name? And I was trying to impress him with my name. My name is Adebowale. Adebo what? You know, I didn't want to. He go like, shoot. Adebo what? I'm like, number one, I'm not really used to what he's saying. I don't know what that SH whatever is. I'm like, okay, what is it that I've done wrong now? You, regardless of that, you have become my brother, my mother, my father, my everything. I never brought one penny here. You sustained me. So for you to say that we are different from you, please, don't let it happen again. We are nothing without you. And I want you to know that. So if Africa is going to be free today, it's not going to be freed by Africans. Exactly. It's going to be freed by you, my brothers and sisters. Do not let the white folks you don't need the white folks really to feel what they damaged. They are not, your captors are not going to help you fix you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Bo.
Thank you so much.
It's almost time to shut the program down. One more. Okay. Well, that's why we'll have to continue on. Now, Representative Scott, I know you had a burning. If you could break it down in about 1 minute. We're running behind time, but, you know, this is a very fruitful conversation. Go ahead, Representative Scott.
You know, sorry to interrupt, but you know what he said is just so on point. And you know, and I feel every bit of it, because we must understand and realize that everything they really got it off of our backs. Yes. And that we are the ones that have made them. And yes. But I think they have forgotten that we are the ones that have made us, and I'm talking about all of us as one. African American, I want to put it, we are the ones that have them in the places and the positions that they are today. Yes. And the sooner that we can come together and work together and unite together, it would be a force that can't even be touched. And that's what that is why the divide continues, and that is why we got to get above this divide and come together and work together and build together and create one source and one means of survival. Because if we do that, then they know that we are untouchable, because yes. Everything they got it off our backs.
Yes, I definitely agree. Thank you, Representative Scott, and I see why that was burning. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Babs.
I think we need to rebrand our leadership, the African American leadership. Remember, more than 60 years ago when Ghana got independence, Dr. King was at the Independence Day, and Nkrumah was coming out of jail in his jail uniform when he became the president. So you can understand the leadership then, that we were so connected then. Sorry.
Okay.
Why are we not connected now? The same thing when Nigeria got independence. Dr. King and Idi King were both in Nigeria on October 1, 1960. So the question is, what happened between that and now? There is no synergy, there's no leadership that ties those two continents together, we and them, because we are in a state. African is an extension of African American.
Right.
You know, and so if we divide ourselves because of a misbelief, a misconception, all this thing that, oh, Africans sold the African American into slavery, all that kind of nonsense. Now, that's what divides us, not what unites us. What unites us is we're one blood, we're brothers and sisters, and we hold each other accountable to make sure that there is always the best interest of African American. We fight for it, you know. And I just want to make sure that I bring that point out. It's leadership.
Yeah.
And as I've said earlier, that we need to form that leadership to begin to lobby for African interest.
All right.
You know, I want to respond. I want to respond.
No, we got
Thank you
to
very much
move
for that.
on. Hold tight to that vote to the next time.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Thank you. We are here at the studio for a limited amount of time, and I like to be. It's one of the things I learned as a state representative, elected official, is being mindful of those who have been generous to you with respecting the time. And so this is not. And please, no disrespect, Brother Bo. And definitely, I know Reverend Forster had something burning that I saw him inching up as well.
It's okay.
But we will come back, you know, to have this conversation, and that, you know, and this was my dream when I saw it, was being able to have this conversation, that we can be able to figure out how do we come to that point where we can come together. How do we come to that point where we can rebrand our leadership in both communities? So y'all be looking forward for part 2. I just can't lead this roundtable discussion without my favorite question. And so, oh yes, oh yes.
Oh boy.
We're gonna ask Status to bear with us a little bit, because we do have one other part to as the ending part of our show is the Adari. Did I pronounce it right? In Ankara.
Adire.
Okay, I've been practicing that all day, y'all. My southern drawl and fashion show, and we want you all to be able to. That's gonna come up after we finish this round table. Okay. But one question, and you always gonna have to be what they call a speed round, so we can't have a long discussion. And we're gonna come back to that one. So my question: when I first met Emmanuel. And all of that, we talk about misconceptions. The first thing, and many of you all who are African Americans, you're going to chime in. You don't even have to say, yes, I'm right. But I want to know, first of all, how many wives do you have? And how many wives did your father have? So we're talking about family structure. And then how is it, and he said, well, my father had 6 wives. I said, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And so, of course, I'm thinking from my African American brought up, you know, I've been brought up, and I was like, my daddy bear could handle my mama. That's 1, 6, and I was like, how they all get together? How the timing go? Who get to see who and when? How the children work together? You know, we know about the side chicks. You know, the men make it work with the side chicks, and then the women, of course, they have some side guys. But how does all of that work? So I'm gonna start with Dr. Babs, and then we're going to go to Reverend Fortson, come back to Bo, and I don't know if Representative Scott is still on with us. I know she had to run.
Yeah, I'm still here, but I am going to have to run, because that's something I want to know too. They really have to keep that over there, because we went right here.
All right, so the question is, when it comes down to first of all, how many wives, if it was more than one, did your father have, and how were the women able to live together with all the children? That's to our Yoruba brothers here. And to the African Americans, being that we're used to one husband and one wife in our household, growing up, what are your comments when you hear or you first learned about the African culture? Yes. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Bear. We're doing speed round now.
I only have one wife, and we've been married since 1986, so that's about 35 years ago. In my family, the Onabanjo family, all of us, all my siblings, all have one wife. But my father came from a royal family, and my father only had one wife. However, in his family, because he came from the kingship, customarily, the king had many wives. Okay, my father was just one of them. On my mother's side, my mother, also came from a king family, and they have so many wives. I mean, so many. The king had so many wives, and my mother was one.
I like that about the husbands. We're gonna talk about that next time. But go ahead.
But from the Onabanjo family, for 3 generations right now, we've only been, one wife. All of us. So, but. Again, that's the influence of the Western culture, because my parents went to study in England. And so when they came back with a different value system. And so that's not the norm. But again, and as a Christian, we also believe so that, one wife, one man. So that's just me. But that does not deal with culture. Because when we marry in Nigeria, you do the traditional one, and you also do the Christian one if you're a Christian. Right. And I do have cousins that have parents that have more than one wife, okay? But for me, as I've said, to be frank, I only have one for 36 years, roughly. But again, let me say this, culture is a way of life. Do not say it's wrong or right. It's just a way of life. If you are born into a culture, you behave just like that culture, embraces you. So I have no dissenting opinion about whether you have more than one wife or not. But for me, I've been able to sustain myself with one wife.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bass. So, see that misconception? I never knew that. So now I've gotten the truth spoken from Dr. Bass. One wife, and even he said his siblings. So, all right, Brother Bo, what you got to say?
Oh, me now? Hey, let him talk.
I'm waiting to hear what Brother Bo has to say. And so I'm going to be very quick. I'm going to be very quick because I'm waiting to see what Brother Bo has to say on this topic, of
Brother
course.
Bo, we on the speed round, so you're going to come back. But so hit it real fast.
Well, I'll go quickly. Growing up in, of course, Western Christianity and the Western interpretation of the biblical text, one man, one woman, is how I grew up. I come from a family of ministers who interpreted the biblical text from that Western perspective and through that Western lens. I understand that, and I understand that that is Western Christian culture as we know it today. I also understand African culture and why more wives, multiple wives, is a benefit to the culture. I've been talking to Brother Bo, and again, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear what he has to say. But I'll say this: I think what the barrier, what the dam is in the thought, is how we define wife and husband. You feel me? We've just put that in a crucible and we've defined it differently in the Western world as opposed to the Eastern world. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk about that. He'll get a chance to talk about that a little more. But I understand how it benefits the culture for both. So I understand where I come from as a Christian, but I also understand where my Yoruba brothers who say that they've lived in a multiple wife or polygamous household. Absolutely.
All right, go ahead, Bo. We don't throw it over there to your corner.
In a situation where culture is deprived or killed, you have just totally annihilated the people you are trying to deal with. So the absence of perpetuating your culture means natural death for the people. One of the ways by which the Africans were emasculated is by actually killing their belief system, their culture. Hence, you focus multiple wife or polygamy you center it on just sex. Wrong. We all grew up from agroeconomy. The whole world grew up from agroeconomy.
Agriculture.
Agriculture
Okay.
to finance the whole world. The more wives you have, the more children you have to farm the land.
Okay.
A way of showing your status symbol in those days, I'm not talking about now, where we are all completely overtaken by Afropeanism. In those days, the way they show their wealth is by, you know, how many farm hands you have, how many children you have. But being Afropean, if there is an English like that, well, it's nothing you can do, I'm making it up. You center your thought on just sex when you talk about polygamy.
That's right.
It's very wrong. We all go by the Bible, but we don't go in the Bible. Because if you go in the Bible, you will know that most of those non-prophets that God really, people revere and God really love, have more than one wife. Have you ever asked yourself why?
Yeah, I have asked that question.
Well, let's ask the pastor.
We're going to come back to that. But go ahead.
How then does Western education or Western emasculation talk about monogamy? Because it's only a way. The more you multiply here, you become a problem for them. Have you ever thought about that? Why do the slave master have more farm hands? They may have sex with the farm hands and then produce more children and becomes part of their property. And they farm the land rather than having to hire somebody from the outside. That's the same thing you did in Africa. That is what sustained and built Africa for years. But they now turn around to stop you from going further, actually recapturing your culture and coming back to the source. And you don't have a choice. This chicken is coming home to roost. I just want to let you know that.
Yeah.
The way of life to actually go back and further our existence here is by going back to the culture.
Now, when you said going back to the culture, I think that when you come down to all those wives, I don't know about that. We're going to have a second conversation about that one. And then when you said that was about, hold on, let me get this one in.
Okay.
And then when you said, oh yeah, I've been waiting about since January to get this in. So I couldn't leave this conversation. I ain't going to let that ride like that.
That'll be great. I knew it was going to be great.
Now you had mentioned about the sex, and one of the things we were in the other called the blue room. It really is a blue room, but we were in the blue room.
Okay.
We talked about time, and that was the other things that we talked about. So I think that when you said sex, and you mentioned about men, we was talking about side chicks and why they end up leaving and having the side chicks, and you were saying, you know, that woman being at home, and then the freedom or the mistress, that's the word you use,
yes.
mistress. Mistress from that, and that's how they end up, you know, tipping out or whatever they were doing on that. So I just wanted to, if you could take 1 minute,
okay.
but I'm gonna let Reverend Doctor say something. Sandra, Representative Scott, you still in?
No,
okay.
She's gone.
All right.
Yeah, I think she's gone.
Okay, go ahead.
What I wanted to say was in this round two, because this has opened Pandora's box. It's a good deal. But in this round two, I think what we need to discuss, and I think that would shed some light, that would illuminate the topic, is if we talk about monogamy as a discipline. You got it. Monogamy is a discipline. When the good doctor here was talking about his culture, you say one culture is worse than the other culture. I get it. No, you can't judge and be pejorative about these two separate cultures. That's the first thing. But when we come back, the second thing, we can talk about the redefinition of these roles, husband, wife. When it crossed the pond, when it came across the pond into Western world, there was a redefining and a remolding of the definition of the roles. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. I just think that it would illuminate the conversations if we could talk about those two particular points. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Bo, did you want to have anything last? Yeah, but real short. Real short, because we at 3:10, and I know that the producer here in the studio has another program coming on after us, and I want to make sure we're getting out of here. But if you could take it in 1 minute, then whatever you miss, you'll have time to think about it when we come back for the next roundtable discussion, part 2 of the misconceptions.
There is a reason why the dictionary has this word mistress, because the agony of the woman dealing the house, growing the family, brings stress. And guess who the stress gets transferred to? The man. So a way of people, of husbands relieving their stress, that's when they do go outside. Instead of we doing that in Africa, we just married them. The white folks, the Western culture, go around doing the same thing that our ancestors were doing, but they give a suitable name for it.
What's the suitable name?
Mistress.
Oh, okay. We say side chicks.
But you never, but you never diagnose. You never. Two words.
Yeah, mean the same thing.
Two words merged together. Okay. You could as well say side chicks, but no. Then I want to miss this stress. I'm not gonna go. By the time you go out and go, most of the time, man, it's not really about sex. If you just remove your brain away from just the sex part of it, we may just want to be spoken to. We may just want to be made happy. We may just want, it's not about sex. Thank you. That's it. There are some women outside that do help the man to help sustain their home on the inside. Maybe the person, the lady,
right,
the lady
Mr.
gave you.
I'm serious. Mr. Bone, I'm going to stop right there because I see something brewing up on the inside. It's warm outside, but it's getting hot in here.
If I don't get home today, I want you to know.
We're going to come back to that one on part 2.
In my mouth.
But you all join me in thanking our panelists for our roundtable discussion.
Thank you.
We have Representative Sandra G. Scott. I always mess with her. I love saying her middle initial. Sandra G. Scott. We have Dr. Babs, Brother Bo, and Reverend Dr. Fortson. And we also were joined here in the audience. You all can't see. We have the chairman of Impasse here. We have the wife of Bo, who I've gotten a chance to meet. We hadn't had no conversation like this, but I've gotten a chance to meet her, of course, Emmanuel. And then we have our prince here, Prince Yinka. I'm not going to mess with his last name with my southern draw. Yeah, I'll let him say it when he get up here. Okay, so join me in thanking our audience. We really appreciate it. Y'all look out for round 2 because we're coming back, because this is what helps us to be able to come together by appreciating. One thing I've learned with all those questions I asked Emmanuel is that appreciating and understanding the culture, that their culture is, African culture is not wrong, and our culture right, is like I think one of the panelists said, is that how it came to America and how it got disseminated or watered down. So being able to understand and appreciate, that's what their culture is. And that's how the young girls are brought up to accept that in their culture. And then when they come here, of course, here in America, we're here, have been liberated because we grew up here. And so our concept is going to be different. And that's with anything that we see as a difference. So that's part of that unifying. And I think once we're able to start moving that part closer and closer together, that I can accept that that's part of their African culture. They don't mean they right and we wrong, but that's their culture. Just like we let other people that come here to America, they celebrate their culture. We can go in restaurants of the Asian, they have their God and whoever they worship in there. We don't say nothing to them. We go right in there and we purchase food, those wings and everything else that we eat, and we never say anything to them. So what's the difference with our own brothers from brothers and sisters from Africa? So thank you. So next, we almost winding down time. We're gonna now hear from our the fashion from the Yoruba fashion, and these are the talents of fashion from what we in America call the motherland. And so Yemisi Akaremi from United Kingdom will give the past, present, and future of the Adire. I'm gonna get it right, y'all. In Ankara fashions. Yes, so I have one. Thank you. While our friends from the Yoruba Elite Mutual of Germany will show us that the Yoruba fashion is not just worn and appreciated by the Yorubas, but by all races. So let's now view that, and when we come back, we'll be closing out. We'll have our Prince Yinka to close us out.
Men also joined in the trade which was previously practiced by women. Although women remained specialists in the dyeing, tying, hand painting and hand sewing done prior to dyeing, but the men became involved in decorating techniques, using stitching machine and applying starch through zinc stencils. By the 1960s, a growing availability of chemical dyes from Europe caused a revolution in color and techniques. This attracted the Nigerian fashion designers who now adapt the designs to print high-quality cloth and have transformed the art of Adire into an entrepreneurial craft. Nowadays, new multicolored Adire uses simple technology, and hot wax or paraffin are used as resist agents in place of the indigenous cassava paste. Designs are created by simple techniques including tie-dye, folding, crumpling, and randomly sprinkling or splashing the hot wax onto a cloth before dyeing. Adire is changing the face of fashion in Nigeria, and it is a more desired alternative to the African machine print designs. It can also be adapted to other forms of fashion items like party wears and other accessories.
Thank you so much for that roundtable discussion. Just want to make a breaking news announcement that every month we are going to have that misconception discussion so that we can all build the bridge together, because there's no difference between the African and African American. Thank you so much. And the last closing, what we are doing now is from a prince who happened from the real Abeokuta there to come and capture the whole things for us to make a remark close for everything that we have been doing. That's Prince Yinka Tejo. Please, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to deliver these closing remarks, marking the end of the first annual Yoruba Cultural Day virtual celebration here in Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America. And first, on behalf of the President, Mr. Emmanuel Adeyemo,
thank you,
and Mrs. Omowale, Ms. Omowale Stover,
yeah,
and the rest of the executives of the Royal Diadem International Consortiums Incorporations, I would like to thank and appreciate every individual and organization that has contributed immensely in one way or the other to make these events a success for which it is today. The event is in no doubt the beginning of great things to come. Just like it's often said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts or begins with a step. In this wise, I consider this event to be very historic. The objectives of this platform is to create a better rapport and cooperation between the African American and the African brothers in diaspora. And as we continue to steadfastly pursue the visions and the dreams of the founding members of these great organizations in bridging the gap, the milestones of achievement in the years to come will make us to assess the events of today in history. And Africa is a continent of great potentials in terms of natural resources. And after years of exploitation, Africa still possesses in abundance natural resources that's waiting to be tapped. And now, Africa is beckoning to black people all over the world, particularly here in America, to come back home and invest in order to develop Africa. And as we know that no one can develop Africa better than the Africans. So on this note, it becomes imperative that the African American brothers understand our culture and value system so that when they go back home to contribute their quota, they will feel better at home. The Yoruba culture is a very unique culture. The Yorubas inhabited mainly the southwestern part of Nigeria with a national population of over 50 million. And it may interest you to know also that another 80 million people from other parts of the world, mainly from Brazil, Cuba, Puerto Rico, El Salvador, are from the Yoruba origins. And Yorubas in diaspora are in the UK, the US, and other parts of Europe and the Caribbeans. Yoruba has an ancient culture and at the same time exemplified as the cradle of civilization. The Yoruba culture, tradition, norms, and standards place great emphasis on value system that recognizes the following: the respect for elders, and the spirit of empathy that says, do unto others as you would love to be done unto you. We like to treat others with love and respect. The other thing, the integrity, wisdom, and understanding, as was highlighted by Captain Dare earlier in the proceedings. We also have respect for the marriage institution, and with that, we discourage single parenthood. We hope that we will continue to guide our children positively in line with the above highlights. We will be able to breed new generations of Africans, African Americans, and as we have heard, there is no need to display any disparity because we are one, whether you were born here or you were born in Africa. It's my view that if this culture is imbibed, there will be less crime in our society, and so also with that, we will be helping both the African society and the American society. So in conclusion, I wish to appreciate the following people for their contributions, both in cash and in kind. I would like to appreciate Archbishop Isaac Olawuyi, Mr. Said Ashogbon, and Prince Olatidoye for their prayers. And our vote of thanks also go to the Rep. Rhonda Bonoff, Chairman, Clayton Legislative Delegation. She's a member of the House of Rep. And we also thank Senator Denzela, a U.S. Senator. And our great thanks also to His Royal Highness, Oba Onisongo, Oba Gbohun Adebayo, for the performance of the Bata dance, the Oshun, and the Onifa. Kabiyesi, we are proud of you, lifting the Yoruba culture. May your reign be long, sir. Kadi okpe lórí, kí bàtà okpe lẹ́sẹ̀. Our profound gratitude also go to His Royal Majesty, Oba Dr. Olusanya Adegboyega Dosunmu, Commander of the Order of the Niger, the paramount ruler of the ancient Owu Kingdom, the Olowu of Owu, Akoda Odua Amororo II. Kadi okpe lórí o, kí bàtà okpe lẹ́sẹ̀. We thank you for enlightening us the more about the history of the Yoruba nation. Captain Adeyemi Dare, Mr. Adua Olawuyi, we say great thank you, sir. And our able professor, Dr. Babs Onobanjo, the NPAS representative and Oriade Kingdom here in Georgia, Mr. Adeniyi, Reverend Dr. Paul Foxins, Representative Sandra Scott, for the roundtable discussion. You have enlightened us so much, and we are glad and we are delighted, for it's been so educative today. We hope that the misconception will be settled once and for all, and we'll be able to move together as one big family. Sister Oluyemisi Akinremi from UK, and the Elite Monchen from Germany, we thank you for your various contributions into this program today. You have all been the rock upon which this event stands today, and we would like you to know that your names shall be written in gold in the sand of time. Again, we say thank you to all participants and viewers across the world. May God bless you all. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. And so it has come to the end. It is no more needs to be said after the Prince has closed us out. I just want to take time to thank my family, especially my dad, Levitt Stovall, for being supportive of me as we've done this planning for this event with Emmanuel. And I thank Emmanuel for his patience with me and all my thousands of questions. And of course, to Jack Trey here with Status Network. It's been a wonderful opportunity to work again with Status Network, and we're definitely looking forward to our roundtable. Emmanuel, did you want to have any closing remarks? And then we will, because we won't have time to do the last video.
Which one is okay for the credibility?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I don't have much to say more than what two of you have already said, to thank those people that are involved in these activities, especially the gentleman that I met for this studio. I want to promise that we are coming back because we noticed that there's a lot of needs, especially in this misconception. It actually brought my eye open more, and that we need to discuss this thing more. May God bless all of us. And thank you over in Nigeria, in Germany, in UK, for your patience and be able to contribute immensely into this particular program. But I guarantee you that I will see you soon.
One last thing, I'm sorry. The videos that you all saw, I need to make sure that I take a few, less than a minute, about 30 seconds, to say their names. I know I'm going to mess up somebody's name, so please forgive me in advance. Prince Erolu Dosumu, Kabiasi Onusango, Chief Abi Makindi, the Jaguana, okay, Owu Kingdom, Prince Niyi Alati Doye, the president of the Owu Royal Club, Prince Bada Odowu, Alamidi Benson. I've gotten a chance to meet him several times through Zoom. The RD Communications Officer, Ajay Raphael, Omo Tanwa Lamadi. You know what, I'm going to ask for some help on this one.
Right, that's what's going to help.
Yes.
So you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Ifeoluwa Bisola, the video crew, the Songo Palace crew, Engineer Tunde Oyetayo, the President, Royal Diadem Africa. We thank you all. Permit me also to send greetings to our royal fathers, the Alake of Egbala, the revered Alake of Egbaland, Oba Gbadibo. You know, we send greetings to you right from here in Georgia. We send greetings Oba Adidapo Tejuosho, the Oshile. We send greetings to you from Africa. I'm here representing you, the royal fathers. The royal father, His Royal Majesty Okikiola Gbadegeshin Tejuosho. I also send greetings unto you, and we hope that you will join us on this program in the nearest future. Thank you very much. God bless you.
How about your brother?
My brother.
The king?
The king,
Yeah.
I've said it.
Okay. I don't want you to miss him out.
All right, well, thank you all so very much. We did have one last video, but we've run out of time, and so we'll have to make sure that we run that video the next time that we come. And I appreciate Engineer Tunde for that particular video, but we just didn't have enough time. Okay, well, actually, the producer told me that he will be able to run it. So thank you all again. Enjoy your weekend. And we look forward to talking with you all again.
Right.
And make sure that you want to make a donation to help cover the cost of putting on this spectacular event. Go to the www.royal, ROYAL, Diadem, DIADEM, INTER.org. It's running at the bottom of your screen. And make a donation of any amount. It would definitely be most appreciated. And if you're in America, your donations are tax deductible because it is a 501c3 organization. Thank you, and have a good rest of your afternoon and evening, depending on where you are.
Yes, sir. Have a nice weekend. God bless you.
Good day, sir.
Good day. Thank you.
My name is Oyetola. I am the program manager for Royal Diadem Foundation. Can we meet you, sir?
Yes, thank you. I am Engineer Babatunde Oyetayo, the President and Founder of Royal Diadem Foundation Africa.
Okay. Can you give us a short, open remark to exemplify the past, present, and future of Royal Diadem Africa, and how it is connected with Royal Diadem International of the state of Georgia in America, the organization that is championing the Yoruba Day celebration we are marking today, as a symbolic recognition from the people, the House, and the government of Georgia?
Thank you very much, Oyetola.
Royal Diadem Foundation, we believe, is a child of necessity to have come from Africa. The issue abounds in Africa today. Everybody is despondent. And the question had always been, what can we do about the current situation? We have looked at it based on research, looking at other nations and see what they have done, especially nations like Singapore, who have come from lower end to become what they are today as giant of nations. And we realize that for us to gain and to win in Africa, we have to do something that has to do with the young ones. Starting to build young ones from age 2, from cradle, up to age of 12, where we will have imparted onto them the necessary ethos, values, and system that will make them great men and women of tomorrow. And that is why Royal Diadem has come about. But the concept behind Royal Diadem is we have to find a way of working with all voluntary organizations that we could work with to be able to garner that necessary backing, to be able to have the mass participation of people and of the children in building the future we will all desire for Africa. Therefore, Royal Diadem seek to be able to take kids to create a paradigm shift in the way the African child will think, the way he will relate with his brothers, both at home and in the diaspora, the way he will want to plan his community, the way he will want to maintain his community, the way he will want his tomorrow to be. Because if their tomorrow is good, the future of adults is also going to be good. Of course, we have to work with the government, with agencies, international, non-for-profit organizations, and so on and so forth, to be able to garner that kind of mass participation support we believe could make us to grow the African child, to grow the African nation for a better tomorrow. Our vision, therefore, we say is we shall create a paradigm shift in the way an average African child thinks, by making a deliberate attempt to shift the attention to change mechanism to the young ones and make them imbibe what that much needed national developmental ethos and empathy, as well as strong cooperation bond right from childhood. Okay? Our mission, therefore, also is to mentor, to coach, and to inspire the African child fundamentally from the cradle to adolescence, with a view to creating that paradigm shift in human attitude and thinking, while we engender development and growth by adopting the STEAM principle, which embraces science, technology, engineering, arts and culture, and mathematics, so that from the onset they are all-rounder, ready to build the future we all crave for in Africa, based on need and environment, collaborating with other related international agencies. Our core value shall be this: leadership with integrity, empathy and cooperation, entrepreneurial development in them, nature, culture and sustainability, environmental development, care for single parents and widows, chivalry, that is, special care to girl child, is keen and paramount in our focus. And that is very much of what we imbibe in the Royal Diadem Foundation. That is the basis. Now, going into future and how we link with Royal Diadem Georgia. In crave for international partnership and sponsorship, we got in contact with Mr. Emmanuel Adeyemo and Ms. Valerie Stover, who apparently is a member or was a member of the House of Representatives of the state of Georgia, USA. And they have been doing a lot of work in the area of technology and in the area of care for single parents in Georgia. So while we work with widows in the Ogun state of Nigeria, Val Rep. Val Stovall was working with single parents in Georgia. So when our parts met, we put up a program which was to help the people of Ogun State, the widows and single parents, which is ongoing at the moment. And from there, the concept of creating and forming the Royal Diadem Georgia Incorporated came into being. And today, it has become a charge of necessity also in Georgia, because what is good for Africa, especially the black community, is also good for the state of Georgia. So we are replicating the basic principle as I have enlightened us here. We shall be doing the same thing in the state of Georgia in partnership. They will be contributing to the development of children in Africa and women, widows and single parents. We also are going to be contributing our parts into building, giving into them the culture, the arts, the tourism opportunity in Africa to encourage the black community in the state of Georgia to find another home in Africa. And that is where the connection is. And of course, we also are going to give a word of encouragement to them. Being today, they are celebrating the first day, the annual celebration of the Yoruba Day, which has been given to them as a mark of recognition by the people, the House, and government of the state of Georgia. So in essence, we commend their efforts. We thank them for all they have been doing for the people, for the black people, not only in Georgia, across the world. So by their effort, we are bringing Africa into Georgia. And we are going to bring the blacks in Georgia back home into Africa. Happy Yoruba Day celebration, people of Georgia. We love you. Africa needs you. Africa is your home. You are most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind and intelligent words. We also want to say a big thank you to our video director. Raphael is also here doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Cheers.